Good morning. Welcome to RSBN Live. I'm Matthew Alvarez. Hope you had a great weekend. We're covering the president as he is on his trip to Asia, of course, now in Tokyo, where it is about 10:45 at night, local time, 13 hours ahead of East Coast time there in Tokyo. So we'll be covering the president today, of course. A lot of videos to get to. The production crew taking care of all of that in the overnight hours and late last night to bring us, and the other day as well, to bring us coverage from Malaysia and also the president on Air Force One for the press gaggle. So just a lot of coverage to get to. We'll get to that in just a minute. Meantime, the president already accomplished a lot. The White House posting the following, that the president has secured peace and prosperity in Malaysia in one day, brokered the Kuala Lumpur peace accords, secured trade deals with Malaysia and Cambodia. Also, joint trade with Thailand and Vietnam, and also elevated the United States-Malaysia relations, bringing billions to the United States, among other accomplishments. Again, we'll return to coverage from Asia in just a bit. Back here stateside, as you see there, that is going to be where day 26 of the Democrat government shutdown press conference will be held, awaiting the press conference with the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, and other officials, including the Small Business Administrator, Kelly Loeffler. That's slated to start in about 14 minutes from now. So right out of the gate, just like last week, right into a very, very busy work week, a very busy news media week, the 24/7 media news cycle on high alert, if you want to call it that, or in high gear, because a lot going on both domestically and internationally, especially on the heels of what we've seen there outside of Venezuela and international waters, with some of the attacks toward some of the people that are trying to bring drugs into our country. There's just a lot going on. Thanks so much for waking up with us. And if you've been awake for a few hours, thanks so much for streaming in as we get ready to see Mike Johnson there, the press getting ready. And of course, we will be going back to Asia in just a bit, especially after the press conference, where we have a ton of coverage to show you and bring you up to speed on what you may have missed over the past 24 to 48 hours. In the meantime, let's go to a few posts from President Trump as we get ready to possibly air the interview with Mayra Flores as well. She is a congressional candidate in Texas. Depending on timing and depending on when the press conference starts, we may get to that before the press conference. Let's go to President Trump's Truth Social post. He said, just in, documents show conclusively that Christopher Wray, deranged Jack Smith, Merrick Garland, Lisa Monaco, and other crooked lowlifes from the failed Biden administration signed off on Operation Arctic Frost. They spied on senators and congressmen and women and even tapped their calls. They cheated and rigged the 2020 presidential election. These radical left lunatics should be prosecuted for their illegal and highly unethical behavior. That from the president pretty recently. Also, Steve Bannon was saying earlier this year, the Trump revolution will mean nothing if we don't deconstruct the administrative state. A lot of people agreeing with that out there as we see the wins for our country, really cleaning house, really draining the swamp, really saving our country to the fullest. And we're seeing that day by day. And we'll see if there are any actions spoken as well as the words. We have seen some indictments. We'll continue to watch. Also, President Trump said just yesterday about the NBA players cheating at cards. He goes, what's worse? The NBA players cheating at cards and probably much else, or the Democrats cheating on elections? The president said the 2020 presidential election being rigged and stolen is a far bigger scandal. Look what happened to our country when a crooked moron became our quote-unquote president. We now know everything, President Trump says. I hope the DOJ pursues this with as much quote-unquote gusto as befitting the biggest scandal in American history. President Trump says, if not, it will happen again, including the upcoming midterms. No mail-in or early voting. Yes to voter ID. Watch how totally dishonest the California prop vote is, the president says. Millions of ballots being, quote unquote, shipped. Get smart Republicans before it's too late, end quote. President Trump, not only is he on these trips overseas right now in Asia this time, then of course posting a number of posts to the American people and to the world when it comes to a lot of news out there. We're also 8 days from Election Day, November 8th, the big elections that we're tracking. Let me just double check the date on that. November 4th. So 8 days from Election Day, November 8th. There are elections in Virginia, of course, for governor there, and then also in New Jersey. So we're tracking those elections, and we know that in New York, of course, there is the mayoral race. Quite interesting to see AOC, Bernie Sanders, Zohran Mamdani, and the governor of New York trumping for a communist. It really shows where the left's heads are at when it comes to those in government. I was surprised, to be honest, to see even Hochul up there saying, yeah, Mamdani's the guy. What? I thought you were more of like an Andrew Cuomo style of Democrat. Well, it looks like it's going way more extreme on the left. We've seen that, right? But when you have people like Hochul doing that, we already know she was extreme, but she was actually trumping for this guy. Unbelievable. Remember going to New York City, I think it was maybe last year. I don't know, was it 23? The years run together when it comes to the rallies, but I know I was there in the Bronx Governor Rally, and I thought to myself, man, that might be the last time that I would ever want to go to New York City. Unless there's work to do there or something, no thanks. No assignments in New York, please, but if I have to, you know what I mean? So, not doing so good, the city, and they really need someone like maybe a Don Jr. in 2029. You know what I mean? Really clean up the town. My dad was born in Manhattan. My mom born in Brooklyn. I used to work in New York. My sister born in Jersey. So we kind of understand New York City. And again, lived in Brooklyn. I've lived in Queens. I've lived in Manhattan. And I've worked there for a few years. And it's sad to see what's happening to the Big Apple. Meantime, as we await the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, we are 6 days away from changing our clocks back an hour. There's the poll, if you want to take it, at Matthew Alvarez on Truth Social. I posted that last night. So it says 7 days because I posted it last night. So now we're 6 days away from turning our clocks back an hour. Are you happy about that? Great, darker earlier, or are we still doing this? And that is what, well, I'll let you know who is picking what in the sense of what are the percentages. So if you want to go check it out, it's at Matthew Alvarez. Or if you don't feel like going over there to Truth Social right now, just in the comment section, wherever you're watching, you can go ahead and type if you like the fact that we're going to have it be darker earlier coming up. All right, so also, after the Mike Johnson press conference, we have a lot of coverage from Asia, as I mentioned. Before we get to any more commentary or any other videos, let's go to an interview with Mayra Flores. She's out of Texas. She was a congresswoman in a certain district, now moving to another district to be a congresswoman there. Let's go to that interview right now. And joining us now is Mayra Flores, the former congresswoman out of Texas and now candidate for a congressional seat in Texas District 34. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to have this conversation with you.
Definitely. Thank you so much for joining us. The question is, why decide to throw your hat back into the ring of politics?
Well, no one has worked harder in South Texas, in Texas District 34 than Team Mayra. So I owe it to the people of Texas 34. I owe it to my amazing, hardworking team and to myself. We got to finish what we started back in 21. You know, we made history in 22. I became the first Mexican born congresswoman ever elected in history in 2022. We flipped a district that had not been flipped in over 150 years. Unfortunately, redistricting hurt us tremendously. The district that we won it was only a district that Biden had won by 4 points, but then the redistricting made it a district where Biden had won it by 15 points. And so, unfortunately, we lost a re-election by 2 points. But if they wouldn't have messed it up with redistricting, this would be our third term. And when I saw that President Trump and the President Trump administration got involved with the Texas legislators and encouraged them to do redistricting again and to do a redistricting that is more of a representation of what Texas looks like. And they did the right thing. And now we have the path to victory. Now our district is very similar to the district that I served in Congress back in 2022. So no one has worked harder than us. So we got to finish what we started back in 2021.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it's great to see those campaign signs out there. God, family, country. That's what it's all about. It's common sense, isn't it?
That is all it's about. At the end of the day, I would not be here without God, my faith in Him, and my amazing family. They motivate me every day. And this amazing country, it's the greatest country in the world. There is no country like the United States of America where someone like myself at 6 years old comes to the United States legally, works in the cotton fields alongside her parents, becomes a respiratory care practitioner, I'm a mother, and becomes a member of Congress. Those things only happen in the United States of America. And I owe it to this country to make sure that the American dream stays alive. The American dream, was there for me. I want that American dream for my children, our children, and future generations. So I owe it to this amazing country not to never give up.
And that's exactly what it is, a success story when someone comes to the country legally. And that's what is legally what we want people to do, legally, of course. Now, your thoughts about how President Trump and the team has handled, ICE deportations and the sealing of the border and all of that.
Well, we've seen a huge difference here in South Texas ever since President Trump came into office. Prior to President Trump, we were seeing thousands and thousands of people every single day cross illegally into our country. And what people need to understand is that there's nothing compassionate about illegal immigration. It funds a terrorist organization, the Mexican cartel. They have no respect for human life. They kill, they rape women and children, men as well. They have no respect for no one. So when you cross illegally into this country, that is who you are funding. And so we got to focus on legal immigration. And President Trump put an end to that. He secured the border. We have not seen the thousands of people crossing illegally into our country. He's focused on now deporting all those that crossed illegally into our country under the Biden administration. Lots of people with horrible criminal backgrounds crossed illegally into this country that have taken the lives of American people. So those people need to be prioritized and be deported immediately. President Trump is just enforcing the laws. He hasn't created a new law. He's just enforcing the law, allowing our Border Patrol agents, our customs, our ICE agents to do their job and enforce the laws that members of Congress passed. Exactly. I mean, I don't know why the Democrat Party, members of Congress in the Democrat Party are so upset at our ICE agents when they're just enforcing the laws that they put in place. If they don't like what our ICE agents are doing, then change the law. It's that simple. But do not instill hate in the American people, because at the end of the day, they set the example. And the American people, well, on the left, the far left, are seeing that they're instilling hate towards our men and women that are just protecting our country. So that just adds more gasoline in the fire. And that's why we're seeing so much protest against our ICE agents. And many of them have been attacked. Their families as well have been threatened. It's a disgrace, because at the end of the day, these men and women are doing their job.
Exactly. It's all that indoctrination on the far left that is, to your point, adding gasoline to that fire. But we're happy to see the National Guard and others out there just doing their jobs. Law enforcement, law and order.
That's simple.
And before I let you go, your thoughts about securing our elections, the importance of that. No more mail-in ballots. Let's just do paper ballots, hand counted, all that, right?
I would have won my election. Actually, in 2024, I lost because of the mail-in ballots. And I saw firsthand how the elderly were manipulated with the mail-in ballots. I would go to the elderly daycares and ask, who did you vote for? Have you voted? They're like, I did go vote, but I don't remember who I voted for. They helped me fill out the ballot, but
Mm.
I don't know who they they put on. But I would love to go back and vote for you. I saw it firsthand how the elderly, especially the elderly, are manipulated. And so, no, we got to stop that. And we need voter ID. We need voter ID. I mean, we need an ID to travel, to go to the bank, for everything. We have to use an ID. I mean, in Mexico, you cannot vote without an ID. So why is it racist in America
Yeah.
to use an ID to vote? It's these people are just out of touch and just so disconnected. They will do whatever to stay in power, to push their far left agenda that is destroying this country. Because at the end of the day, the biggest threat is the far left. These are people that were born and raised here, that hate America, that do not want to see this country prosper. And they are my biggest concern because they were born and raised here, and yet they hate this country so much.
We look forward to calling you a congresswoman once again. Mayra Flores, thank you so much for joining
Amen.
us here on RSBN.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
You too. I mean, you think about that. She just said right there, those mail-in ballots, that's the reason why she's not a congresswoman to this day for that second term there. So now we see that our focus, of course, domestically, there's a bunch of things going on, we know, but securing our elections, always a huge thing. It would be great to see that 19th out of 20 promises to the American people about securing our elections, having a voter ID, paper ballots, and on. So looking forward to seeing the developments come out of the White House for that. I know many of you are. I know Mike Lindell definitely is, and Seth Keshel and others that are just these superstars when it comes to election security and safety and all of that, integrity. So looking forward to covering that here. It's 10:01 Eastern Time. Looking forward to seeing this press conference. Again, it's day 26 of the Democrat government shutdown. Hearing some pretty sad news when it comes to what people want to do on November 3rd. Apparently, that's when the food stamps, the EBT and all that, that's when it, I guess, runs out, or people aren't going to be able to use their cards anymore. So some are saying that they want to steal from stores. So it's quite the story we're following. But at the end of the day, hopefully the government will be just reopened before then, as we see the Democrat government shut down. Again, day 26, awaiting the GOP press conference there with the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. As we go into some of our sponsors, as soon as we see the Speaker of the House there live, we'll take it there. In the meantime, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and this is a time when many families are searching for clarity, for hope, and for options worth learning about. And more people today are exploring repurposed medications like mebendazole for its potential cancer support and ongoing research. So All Family Pharmacy believes you deserve access and the freedom to explore what may feel right for you and your loved ones. They make the process simple. A licensed doctor reviews every order to ensure it's appropriate, and your medication is shipped directly to your door. So for this final week of October, they're offering 40% off mebendazole. We're going to get to more of that sponsor in just a second. Let's go to Mike Johnson right now.
Well, good morning, everyone. We're now on day 27 of the Democrat shutdown, and we want to review with you a few pertinent facts and explain a little bit about some of the really painful things that are going on around the country. We're delighted to be joined by our dear friend, Kelly Loeffler, former U.S. Senator and now the leader of the U.S. Small Business Administration, and she can speak specifically to some of the great hardships that are being felt by the people who provide jobs now around this country. Day 27 means it's almost been a full month since the Democrats shut down the government. And as we near the end of this month, the pain being felt by so many hardworking people around this country is very real, and it gets worse with each passing day. Here's some of the stats. Last week, 1.4 million federal workers missed a full paycheck. Now, you know, many of them are furloughed, and many more are deemed essential workers, those who are essential, for example, to keep the country safe. TSA agents we've discussed, and air traffic controllers and border patrol, and of course our troops But so many of them now are going without pay. The families of military service members and the air traffic controllers and so many of these others are now at very real risk of missing the paycheck at the end of this month. The Trump administration has done everything possible to bend over backwards to try to find sources of funding within the federal government to be able to cover the bases, but it is getting more and more challenging with each day. Now, every Republican in Congress wants to stop this madness desperately. And we have voted many times, over a dozen times, collectively 13 times, to reopen the government, to keep it open and reopen it once the Democrats closed it. But here's the very simple and important fact that no one should forget. We have no ability. Republicans do not have the ability to do this on our own. It's a simple math problem. We need Democrats to help. You need 60 votes in the Senate. We only have 53 Republicans. The Democrats are the ones voting repeatedly to shut down the government. But they're not opening it back up. They spent most of their time trying to distract the American people from the very simple truth. So I brought you a little visual aid here to just remind everybody what the simple facts are. 4 simple facts here. The Democrats are required to open the government. They keep saying Republicans are in charge of government. We aren't, not in the Senate. 60 votes control the Senate, not a bare majority. And so point number 1, Democrat votes are required to open the government. Point number 2, they refuse to do it. They have now voted 12 times to keep the government closed. And they'll have another chance today or tomorrow, maybe multiple times this week, and we'll see what they do. Now, the third point is very important because they've been trying to confuse the American people. They've tried to say this is a fight about health care or this or that or any other thing, and it's very simple. They put this on paper. They made this their demand in writing in the record of the Senate, and it has not changed. These are just 4 subpoints there under fact number 3, but there's many more. But among the things they're demanding, this is what the Democrats in the Senate are demanding to reopen the government. They want to give $200 billion in health benefits to illegal aliens and non-citizens, paid for by U.S. taxpayers. That is in their proposal. They want billions in wasteful programs to be returned to foreign countries. So we stopped these things. They want to turn it all back on. They're demanding that we do all that to get the government open for hardworking Americans again. They want to give $500 million to left-leaning news organizations, and they want to cut $50 billion from rural hospitals. We will not do those things. And they know that very well. Which leads us to point number 4. The Democrats have now openly admitted, and you all had to cover it last week, that they're using the pain of the American people as their leverage. That was the number 2 ranked Democrat in the House, the Democrat, the minority whip, who said that, acknowledged it in an interview, that this is leverage. And Chuck Schumer himself boasted that every day of the shutdown gets better for us. That's his now infamous quote that he wishes he had not said out loud. But you know what they're doing and why. Why are they demanding these things? Why is point number 3 so essential to them? Why would they do this? Because it's unprecedented, as we've noticed, and reminded you all, they voted for CRs every time it was possible in their lives, as recently as March of this year. But they're doing it to appease their far-left Marxist base. That's the headline. That's why. That's why we're all in this mess. That's why the American people are suffering pain, because the Democrats are more afraid of the Marxists in their base than they are of hardworking Americans. See, they've made an evaluation that they have to appease the Marxist base, that they're so concerned that they'll lose their jobs if they don't appease the far left in their party. And they sat in a back room and they made the calculation that they would rather shut the government down and impose all this pain on the American people because they believe the Marxists, the far left in the base, are more active than hardworking Americans, people who go vote. And so they made the calculation that it's worth it to them. Every day gets better for us. We'll use the pain as leverage. For what? To prove to the far left base that they won't give in, that they'll fight Trump and fight the Republicans. What are they fighting? It's a clean CR. It's the same level of funding that they have voted for as recently as earlier this year. They are Biden-level policies and spending. This is not some Republican wish list. We don't have any of our priorities in this at all. It's the Democrats' own product. But they have decided to flip the script this time because they were getting too much heat from the far left. The facts are so simple. And I'll give you Exhibit B as to why this is so true. On Friday, there was a little bit of a seismic shift in politics. All of you noticed it over the weekend. We saw our clearest sign yet that this radical insurgent movement in the Democrat Party is succeeding, and they are ending what has always been known as the Democrat Party in America. After a months-long pressure campaign from the far left, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries finally relented. He gave in, and he gave his endorsement to the socialist running to be mayor of New York City. The House Democrats have chosen a side. They were forced to by that far left that they're so terrified of, and they've shown the world what they really believe. There is no longer a place for centrists and moderates in their party. The candidate that they have endorsed, Mamdani, is somebody who we've talked about a lot from this podium. He sympathized with Hamas and openly embraced anti-Semitic language. He has called to, quote, seize the means of production because he is a Marxist. He's called to abolish our borders, to abolish and end immigration enforcement, to defund the police, and to legalize prostitution, among a long list of hits that I could share with you. Zoran Mamdani is expected to take the helm of one of the most important cities in the world and the largest city in America. And he now has the full blessing of the Democrat leader in the House of Representatives. It is shocking. And that leader and all the other Democrats are going to co-own the consequences of what they do to America's largest city. Every reporter in this room should be asking every House Democrat individually whether they too agree with Hakeem's endorsement of the Marxist agenda. It's an extraordinary moment in the history of American politics, as this is not the kind of history that we need to be making. What we're witnessing is truly the end of the Democratic Party as we've known it. And even some Democrats are now saying that out loud. You can see it in their interviews. I watched one last night. All this is directly related to the Democrats' shutdown show. Why? Because just like they decided to save their own skin, that they had to endorse the Marxist Mamdani in an unprecedented move, they have also decided they had to shut down the government in an unprecedented move. No matter the pain it inflicts upon hardworking American people, they were simply more afraid of the Marxists in their party than they are of voters. For the sake of our country, we pray that their calculation is wrong. We believe it is dead wrong. And as much as they try to obscure it, as much as they try to distract you, as much as they try to say that it's about any other issue under the sun, all those issues were always scheduled to be decided. Health care, the expiring Obamacare subsidies, the NDAA, the appropriations, all these other things, it was always on the calendar for Republicans and Democrats to hash it out in October, November, and December. This is not a surprise to Republicans. It's not a surprise to Democrats, and they all know it. That is the only thing they could grasp onto to try to give some sort of argument, to try to give cover for the fact that they're running from the far left base of their party. Facts are facts. And the ball is fully in the court of the Senate Democrats now. Who are they going to respond to? The American people. I think hardworking American families need to be a little more vocal. I think they need to call some of these Senate offices and tell them to stop the games. They need to know they should fear the American people worse than the Marxists who are trying to take over their party. And my friends, that is exactly what is going on right here. Now, I want to zoom in because we have a special guest and just focus on a group of men and women who are seeing the impact of this shutdown in their bottom line every single day. And that is America's small business owners. See, small businesses are the largest employers in our country. But unlike Washington Democrats, they don't have the luxury to wait out this shutdown. For many of them, federal contracts have been frozen, SBA loans and support have dried up, and business has dropped off due to uncertainty in the markets. A survey of small business owners across the country found that for the 1 in 5 small business owners who rely on government contracts, this shutdown is forcing them to pull back on their investments. And what are those investments? It's new hires, new jobs. It's supplies and services. They have to pull back on those things so that they can make payroll work, so they can keep their employees employed. One business in Raleigh, North Carolina that relies on federal environmental approval said this, quote, "The backlog that is generated by the shutdown will last long beyond today." Another business in Georgia, Ms. Loeffler's home state, specializes in home repairs, added, quote, "When livelihoods are affected in such a manner, home repairs and projects get delayed if not canceled. Our government shutdown is a threat to us all." For American businesses that rely on loans from the SBA, each day means crucial dollars lost, and that affects every American at the end of the day. Small businesses across the country are being forced to go without roughly $170 million in SBA-backed loans each day, and that adds up to $4.5 billion in blocked loans just over the course of this shutdown so far. So while Chuck Schumer says that every day gets better for his party, every day is getting much, much harder for the people who are keeping the lights on around the country. To share more about what small businesses are experiencing firsthand, we are really delighted to join and welcoming this morning the administrator of the U.S. Small Business Administration, Kelly Loeffler. Kelly, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you so much. Good morning. Thanks for being here. Well, thank you, Speaker Johnson, and the leadership gathered here. And I want to start out by thanking you all on behalf of America's 36 million small businesses for passing a clean funding bill to keep the government open, and for passing the largest working family tax cut in American history, saving taxpayers a $4 trillion tax hike that Senate Democrats voted for, congressional Democrats supported. Now, that tax cut is a big reason why we've seen a historic comeback for our nation's economy under the leadership of President Trump and congressional Republicans. Prior to the Democrat shutdown, the data was very clear. Small business optimism was at 7-year highs. Wage growth was outpacing inflation for the first time in 4 years. GDP growth was 3.8%. Deregulation, energy dominance, and fair trade were finally back. For the first time in years, America's small businesses felt the wind in their sails. They were taking on new capital to hire, expand, and invest. Now, that confidence manifested itself at the SBA through a historic demand for capital exceeding $100 billion for the first time in the agency's 72-year history under President Trump's leadership. That includes $45 billion, a record $45 billion, in SBA loans to 85,000 small businesses in fiscal 2025, the most ever approved by this agency, thanks to confidence in the Trump economy. But today, 27 days later, as the Speaker said, Senate Democrats have intentionally put that momentum at risk. The SBA's loan guarantee programs have been halted, and Main Street's capital has been choked off because Senate Democrats are playing politics with lives and livelihoods. They're demanding $1.5 trillion in taxpayer money to fund health care for illegal aliens and other liberal causes. Their spin is fact-free. They want to subsidize their broken, fraudulent, and unaffordable health care system, where premiums have increased by 80% since 2014, and those are the enormous costs that are borne on the shoulders of small businesses. But the pain is the point. Every single day of this shutdown has stopped 320 local businesses every single day from accessing $170 million in SBA loans for hiring and for expansion. Now, in Chuck Schumer's own state, that is $40 million every single week. In my home state of Georgia, Senator Ossoff and Senator Warnock shutting down $35 million in Main Street capital every single week. So on day 27, all of that adds up to 6,000 small business loans that have been prevented from receiving upwards of $4 billion in Main Street lending. And it's not just the flow of capital that it's been cut off, as the Speaker said. It's small businesses that rely on federal contracts. Thousands of them across the country have received stop work orders. Thousands more who rely on federal workers as their customers are seeing their revenue dry up. Here in Washington, of course, but around our military communities, around main streets across America. It's our storefronts that are cutting back hours, manufacturers that are shelving expansion plans, and generational businesses that are closing their doors for good. It's business that they will never get back. Thousands of painful stories like these are playing out, and that's what Democrats are talking about when they say they now have leverage. Now, America's small businesses make up 99% of all of our nation's businesses. They create 2 out of every 3 new jobs, and they make up about half of our GDP. So when the CEA estimates that every week of the Democrat shutdown It shrinks the U.S. economy by $15 billion. That cost is borne by Main Street. When they estimate that Senate Democrat shutdown will cost our economy 43,000 jobs, those jobs are at local businesses. All because Senator Schumer and his caucus are willing to sacrifice Main Street so that they can derail President Trump's historic economic agenda and appease the socialist radicals who are now in charge of the Democrat Party. It's why I'm so proud to stand here with Speaker Johnson, Chairman Williams, and the entire House leadership team, because we are united behind Main Street, our military, and those who rely on critical federal services. It's time for Chuck Schumer to end the political stunt, pass a clean funding bill, open the government, stop putting illegal aliens and the Marxist socialist demands of your radical base over small businesses back home. We must bring the same common sense that prevails on Main Street back to Washington. I'll now turn it over to my good friend and chairman of the Small Business Committee, Roger Williams, from the great state of Texas.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate Administrator Loeffler, and she's quoted you a lot of numbers, which are all true, but let me just tell you this. I chair the Small Business Committee. I'm a small business owner. I didn't sell my business 10 years ago or anyone. We still have our family business, been in business since 1939. I've been in it 57 years. I know what's happening on Main Street when it's good and when it's bad. And let me tell you, Main Street is very fearful of the Schumer shutdown. He is totally holding Main Street America, small business owners, small business employees at bay because of his future that he's concerned about. It has nothing to do with it. Main Street is 99% of the businesses are small businesses. 75% of the payroll, 75% of the workforce is small business. It's every small business in your hometown, in Schumer's hometown, in my hometown. I go over, and I'm not necessarily as much a congressman when I get home as much as a small business owner. And I can tell you what's happening out there. I'm worried about the 99%. I'm worried about the 75% of payroll, 75% of workforce. I'm worried about the fact that they cannot meet the payroll, as Administrator Loeffler said, with the SBA like it is right now, is ready to go. I mean, we are ready to go. We've had more activity in the SBA since November 5th than we've had in years because people want to start a business. So they see the Trump economy works. They want to start a business. They want to stay in business. I'm worried about that group of people. I'm worried about the fact that they can't meet payroll. I'm worried about the fact that they can't buy inventory. If you can't buy inventory, you can't sell anything. And the truth of the matter is, if you want to go deeper into it, if you don't have inventory, inflation will rise because you're not discounting your inventory. That's how capitalism works. That's how the private sector works. That's how we compete. So the other thing we did before the shutdown, Administrator, thanks to you, is the fact that we raised the loan limits from 5 to 10 million on manufacturing. Ready to go, ready to expand, ready to grow your business. And I would tell you, if we're lucky enough to have some more rate cuts, this economy, the Trump economy, along with small business, is going to lead the way and explode. But we can't do it with Chuck Schumer hanging an anchor around everybody's neck because he's personally concerned about his political future. So as a small business owner, I'm just saying to all of you, the greatest asset America has is its people, its Americans, and it's Main Street America. Risk and reward built this country. Right now, there's no risk and reward. We're just playing defense. That will not work. This shutdown must end immediately to save small business, to save consumers, to save Main Street America. I'm honored to chair the committee. I'm honored to work with Senator Loeffler. We can get this done. Everybody's ready. It relies on one man, Chuck Schumer. Take a look at the small businesses in your district or in New York, Senator Schumer. Tell them that you don't care about them. Tell them you don't care if they meet their payroll. Tell them you don't care if they hire workers, and see how that goes. America is the greatest country in the world with the greatest workforce in the world. I'm proud to have a small part in supporting them and getting our country back on track. May God bless all of them. May God bless America. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Chairman Williams, for all you do to support small businesses, to really epitomize the backbone of our economy. And Administrator Loeffler, thank you for coming and for what you're doing to help small businesses grow in every corner of this country. Unfortunately, as Administrator Loeffler pointed out, those small businesses are struggling like millions of families all across America. Why? So that the Democrats can get leverage Who knows who they want leverage over? They can't articulate it. They've laid out $1.5 trillion wish list of crazy items like giving taxpayer-funded health care to illegals. In their bill to give that taxpayer funding to illegals, they actually gut rural health care. Democrats gut $50 billion out of rural health care. They want to talk about health care? They're the ones making it harder. And of course, they don't want anybody to remember facts. Facts like when we moved the working families tax cut through this Congress. Unfortunately, not a single Democrat wanted to support that because it involved preventing a tax increase. The party that's now gone all the way over, full bore into socialism. As the speaker talked about, Hakeem Jeffries is now all in for the socialist agenda of Mandami. He is the head of their party now. When he gets elected mayor of New York, he's given the marching orders to the rest of the Democrats. And they want to raise taxes on everybody. They call you rich. Anybody who works for a living is going to be rich, and they're going to raise your taxes to get government-run grocery stores and the lunacy that comes with that. That's the Democrat agenda. It's not about improving health care because, again, in their own alternative bill, they want to gut rural health care. You know what else they work to do? In the working families tax cut, we had a provision that would have lowered premiums by 11%. According to CBO, it was scored to lower premiums on families. It's called CSR. You can go look it up. It's something that has been out there as an idea for a long time. We actually put it into bill language and text and passed it through the House. But Democrats went and used a parliamentary maneuver under the Byrd rule to get that removed because they don't care about families. They don't care that that provision would have absolutely lowered premiums by double digits for families who are paying too much for health care. And then not only did they get it removed, Democrats in the Senate bragged, still to this day on their website, bragged that they removed it. They want to tell you it's about health care? It's not. They really told you what it's about. It's about getting leverage, showing off to their radical Marxist socialist base that they're fighting Donald Trump because they're still angry about the results of the November election. And in the meantime, real families are struggling. Every day the number grows higher. Yesterday, Senator Gallego went on to meet the press. And he was asked when Democrats would reopen the government. And he said, quote, "I'm not looking at a timetable. I'm looking at everyone's personal pocketbooks." Now, Senator Gallego, you ought to be looking at the pocketbooks of those single moms who right now are facing losing their WIC payments, facing losing their SNAP payments. And if Senator Gallego's not sure how many people that is, we've been told by the administration how many people will stand to lose real benefits, SNAP benefits, food stamps for kids. 42 million people will lose those benefits in just a few days. Senator Gallego, look at their pocketbooks. WIC, Women, Infants, and Children program, helps feed 7 million low-income moms and infants. Senator, go look at those pocketbooks. And who knows what your real motivation is. But I'll tell you what their motivation is. Their motivation is just to put food on their table for their kids. And every Republican and Democrat, every Republican in the House and Senate voted yes to put that food on the table. And Democrats keep voting no. They keep voting to shut the government down. And it's having an impact on millions of people. Head Start, which is a program that funds education and nutrition services for 800,000 kids under the age of 6. You hear this theme over and over again now. Who the Democrats are using for leverage and hurting is kids and nutrition programs. That's who they've chosen to target. And it's real harm and real pain that they're causing. But then it gets even bigger. Just today, the American Federation of Government Employees, large union, came out and said, quote, "It's time to pass a clean, continuing resolution and end this shutdown today. no half measures, and no gamesmanship. And the union went on to say today, quote, because when the folks who serve this country are standing in line for food banks after missing a second paycheck because of this shutdown, they aren't looking for partisan spin. They're looking for the wages they earned. The fact that they're being cheated out of it is a national disgrace. And they're right. It's a national disgrace what Democrats are doing to good, hardworking people, to women, infants, and children who are just looking to this town and saying, what are these Democrats doing? What happened to your father's Democrat Party? It's a mirage of what it used to be because the socialists have taken over. This is what Marxism and socialism looks like. Government workers standing in food bank lines, children going without food, and Head Start nutrition programs so that Democrats can use you as leverage. It's a national disgrace, and it needs to end now. We stand ready to get that job done. We voted to get that job done. It's time they stop playing this game that's harming millions of people. Our whip, Tom Emmer.
We're now on day 27 of the Democrats' shutdown, and the consequences are getting more severe every single day. Over the weekend, we saw federal workers lined up at food banks, as our majority leader was just saying, as they are being forced to figure out how to feed their families. We saw control towers at major airports such as Dallas, Fort Worth, Newark, and Phoenix facing significant staffing shortages. And if the Democrats fail to pass our clean CR and reopen the government this week, more Americans will miss their hard-earned paychecks. Some states will be forced to cut off SNAP benefits, including my home state of Minnesota. Thankfully, the Trump administration and private sector companies have stepped up where Democrats have refused. President Trump has found creative solutions to help pay our troops and fund WIC benefits for moms and young children for just a little bit longer. DoorDash announced yesterday that they will help support Americans by delivering free meals to food banks and waiving delivery and service fees on grocery orders for SNAP recipients. But these are Band-Aid solutions to the Democrats' self-inflicted shutdown problem. Remember, it doesn't have to be this way. There is a nonpartisan government funding bill sitting in the Senate ready to be sent to President Trump's desk immediately. We just need 5 Senate Democrats to come to their senses, do the right and reasonable thing, and support our clean CR. Contrary to what House Minority Whip Catherine Clark believes, the American people are not leverage in the Democrats' shutdown charade. And we refuse to negotiate under hostage conditions, nor will we pay a ransom. So our message today is the same as every other day, and we're glad to see, as the majority leader mentioned, that the American Federation of Government Employees, by the way, the largest government employee union, 820,000 federal employees, have joined us in saying enough with the political games, support our clean CR and reopen the government like your constituents' livelihoods depend on it, because they do. With that, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Yeah, Manu, go ahead.
It's now been more than 5 weeks since the House has last met and last voted. But even during the government shutdown, House committees could still meet, there could still be markups, there could still be oversight hearings, bills could still come to the floor. So why not do that rather than have members back home in their districts? Why not bring them back here and do the work that they were elected to do?
Yeah, so we're evaluating this day by day. The House did its work. I've said it over and over and over. And the most important thing is to get the government open. It's the #1 priority and #1 responsibility of Congress, and the Senate Democrats have chosen not to do it. We think that is paramount and of paramount importance to everything else. There is plenty of time in the remainder of the calendar year to do all the things that are the must-pass pieces of legislation and all the negotiations that I referenced earlier today. And we are anxious to get everybody back to regular legislative session. But there cannot be a regular legislative session so long as the government is closed and Americans are feeling so much pain. We won't do that. Now, in the meantime, Republicans, I don't know what the Democrats are doing other than publicity stunts, but I can tell you the House Republicans are doing some of the most meaningful work of their careers. They're in their districts working around the clock with their constituents, helping them not only to negotiate the crisis that's been created by this Democrat shutdown, but all the other matters that they need to attend to. And I'm hearing from them individually. They are having some of the most meaningful interactions at a time of great crisis with their constituents that they've ever had, and that's really, really important. So I don't want to pull them away from that work right now when their insight and their counsel and their assistants and those of their staff, who, by the way, aren't getting paid soon, that is most essentially needed right now back home. So we have work to do here. We'll get back on the floor as soon as we can, and in the meantime, as soon as the Democrats allow us, and in the meantime, the committees, the chairs of all the committees, and the active members of those committees are still churning the work out. They're not doing a markup right now in a formal meeting, for example, but they are still doing very meaningful work. Oversight, the oversight responsibility of the House continues to work. You might have noticed the Oversight Committee dumped its third batch of files from the Epstein matter just a number of days ago. 43,000 pages of documents are out there, including Epstein's own personal flight logs, his financial ledgers, his daily calendar and diaries. All those things are out now in the public. And so all these essential functions of the House of Representatives continue in earnest. No, Hakeem Jeffries has said they're on vacation. Well, he might have sent the Democrats on vacation. But House Republicans are doing very important, very essential work around the clock. Yes, go ahead, Ellen.
SNAP benefits are going to run out this week.
Yes.
The USDA said they're not going to tap into a contingency fund or ensure those benefits get paid. Do you think the administration should tap into those funds or find other sources in order to ensure that millions of Americans do get paid?
Well, look, I can tell you the administration has worked, as you all know, very creatively and very hard to limit the pain on the Americans because of the Democrats' shutdown. And the SNAP benefits is a unique situation. I got a summary of the whole legal analysis, and it certainly looks legitimate to me. The contingency funds are not legally available to cover the benefits right now. The reason is because it's a finite source of funds. It was appropriated by Congress, and if they transfer funds from these other sources, it pulls it away immediately from school meals and infant formula. So it's a trade-off. There has to be a pre-existing appropriation for the contingency fund to be used, and Democrats blocked that appropriation when they rejected the clean continuing resolution. So the way to make this stop immediately is we just need a handful. We need 5 more Democrats in the Senate to do the right thing, wake up and say, I'm going to say no to the Marxist far left pressure, and I'm going to do what's right by the people, the 42 million Americans in this country who rely upon this essential nutrition assistance. Am I going to starve my constituents, or am I going to appease the Marxists? That is their actual calculation, whether they say all of that out loud or not. Everybody in this room knows exactly what's going on, and it's so infuriating to us. The best way for SNAP benefits to be paid on time is for the Democrats to end their shutdown, and that could happen right now if they would show some spine. Yes?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The military is that yet again have a paycheck problem into this week, which others of course too. In the past, the president found the money to pay the military, including money, he says, from a donor, $130 million. Do you or any of your staff know who that donor was? And also, do you believe that the military will miss that paycheck, or is it your understanding that that money will be found again?
So the questions about military pay, we did get the president, as you know, tapped in research and development, unobligated funds, and paid the military in the middle of October. Their next check is due the end of this week, and we're not 100% sure. Now, I do know the administration and everybody is bending over backwards to try to figure that out, but I don't know the final analysis yet. With regard to who gave the $130 million very generous donation to help pay troops, by the way, that's just a small fraction of what is needed to pay the troops, as you know, but a very generous donation. I have not asked the president for the identity of that person because they want to remain anonymous, and I respect that. I've heard rumors, but I'm not 100% certain because, again, I haven't asked to verify that myself. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, this AFGE, Leader Scalise and Whitmer both mentioned this new statement from the president of the American Federation of Government Employees. They represent 800,000 federal employees. They're obviously calling for a clean start of tasks, which is what you guys passed, Do you see this statement from AFGE as a turning point in this shutdown? Do you see this as something that could move Senator Schumer?
Certainly, I hope so. It's a union, you know, and they represent such a large amount. There's 1.4 million federal employees. They represent 800,000 of them, and they said, to your point, in quote, pass the CR and open the government. It couldn't be more clear, and because they understand the reality of this. These are federal employees. Many of them watch carefully what happens here in the halls of Congress. They know that this whole thing by the Democrats, the entire shutdown, is a charade, because they know, and anybody who pays attention knows, we always were going to arm wrestle over the remaining issues on the table this year. And they're tired of the distraction, and it's hurting their families, and people are suffering real hardships. They really are going to the food pantries out now to feed their families. It's shameful. We're the greatest nation in the history of the world. We've got to be able to operate, and we can't allow a rise of Marxist and far-left activists in one party to shut down the entire operation of the federal government, and that is exactly what they are allowing them to do. The Democrats have got to come to their senses. You can endorse communists all you want, but at least keep the government operating for us. That's our plea. It's pretty simple. Yes, sir. Second row.
Is there any work being done on a Republican solution to the health care cliff? I mean, there's been talk in the past about HSAs, about, you know, short-term plans. Any work being done? You said it could be done at the end of the year, but surely there must be some preliminary work.
Yeah, I've been carrying this visual aid around waiting for this question for a while, okay? So when I say that the Republicans have been working on a fix for health care, we've been doing this for years, and many of you who've been on this beat for a while know this is two publications. When I was chair of the Republican Study Committee, the largest caucus of Republicans in Congress, we published volumes of ideas on health care. This was our volume 1, a framework for personalized, affordable care. We had an entire body of the smartest minds in Congress, the smartest Republican minds who worked around the clock. The Doctors Caucus, they talked to stakeholders from around the country and in all the areas related to healthcare, and they came up with a formula on how to reduce the cost of healthcare dramatically, how to make Obamacare affordable and workable in some way for the American people, to increase the access to care and the quality of care. And these ideas have been on paper for a long time. There's volumes of this stuff, volumes of it. What we're doing right now, what we have been doing, what we were already doing, because we knew we were coming up to the end of the year, and we know that healthcare is a major burden for the American people. We've been working on it since day one of this Congress. We worked on it in the years prior. And we've already demonstrated, this is not talking points for us. When we say the Republican Party is the only party that has any chance at fixing healthcare for the American people, we've demonstrated it. We put it into the One Big Beautiful Bill, the Working Families Tax Cut. As you know, we strengthened the Medicaid program. We started there because it was the lowest hanging fruit. Why? Because the fraud is so glaring. And we eliminated the fraud. We got ineligible recipients off of Medicaid. We preserved it for the people who rely upon it and need it the most. Young pregnant women, the elderly, disabled, for example. We got able-bodied young men without dependents off the program. And what we did was we strengthened it. Don't take our word for it. The CBO, who normally is not on my team, okay? They're the ones that came out and said, yeah, it's going to save $185 billion. And they got 2.3 million ineligible recipients off of it already. That's an important first start. And so the next thing is to fix all the other components of healthcare. That's what we have plans to do. That's what we're working on. The expiring Obamacare subsidy at the end of the year is a serious problem, because if you look at it objectively, you know that it is subsidizing bad policy. We're throwing good money at a bad, broken system, and so it needs real reforms. The reason it was never appropriate or never possible to be resolved on a simple CR, stopgap funding measure, is because it's very complicated to fix. But Republicans have a long list of ideas. Leader Scalise has been working with the chairman of our 3 committees of jurisdiction, putting all of that, formulating all that, grabbing the best ideas that we've had for years to put it on paper and make it work. But we know we're going to have to arm wrestle with Democrats over that. Why? Because many of them are avowed to get us to a single-payer system. They do love socialism, my friends. They love Mamdani. He wants government to take over everything. They're on board with that program. They think the government can do a better job by taking over health care. We believe in the private sector and the free market and individual providers, their acumen. And we say that if you take the government off their backs and allow for real competition again in health care, you will improve its quality and you will bring down its cost. All of these are important components of that, and we have a lot of work to do, but it is not a simple thing, and I am not going to go in a back room with Chuck Schumer, like he keeps demanding, with 4 people and make this decision. I will not do it. It's not appropriate. It's not right. It's too complicated for that. We need all the members to have buy-in. We need to have these healthy debates and discussions. But we can't do it while they're shutting the government down to appease the Marxists. That's it. That should be your headline. I want to thank Chairman Williams and Administrator Loeffler for being here and highlighting the trials of small businesses. And we'll see you here again tomorrow. God bless.
Mike Johnson on fire there at the podium, saying we'll see you here tomorrow. Hopefully he's wrong, and we won't see him there tomorrow, because that means it would be the end of the Democrat government shutdown, as it's now day 27. As you guys heard from the leaders there, it's just something that the Democrats, they approach the Republicans with this laundry list of demands that are way opposite of President Trump's agenda and what we the people want. So we're now into day 27. So we'll see how that transpires as we are covering President Trump as he is in Asia right now. Good morning once again. I'm Matthew Alvarez. Thanks so much for watching RSBN Live. We have a ton of coverage to get to, including later tonight. The president will be with the Prime Minister of Japan. There will be a bilateral meeting. So we'll figure out what time specifically that will be airing, and we'll bring that to you as soon as we know. Also, let's go to a couple of our sponsors before we get to a ton of coverage from overseas, where in Tokyo, it's 13 hours ahead of East Coast time. So that means it's 11:45 at night there in Tokyo. So while the president and the team, I was going to say, rest for the night. You know how it is with President Trump. He's probably watching conservative media maybe, or staying up and figuring out what is going to be for the next day. We're here, of course, just waking up on this Monday, especially out there on the West Coast. Thanks so much for joining us. Let's go to a few of our sponsors, including All Family Pharmacy. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and this is a time when many families are searching for clarity, for hope, and for options worth learning about. And more people today are exploring repurposed medications like mebendazole for its potential cancer support and ongoing research. All Family Pharmacy believes you deserve access and the freedom to explore what may feel right for you and your loved ones. They make the process simple. A licensed doctor reviews every order to ensure it's appropriate, and your medication is shipped directly to your door. Now, for this final week of October, they're offering 40% off, as you see there on the screen, off of mebendazole. This offer ends October 31st. The discount is automatically applied at checkout, so there's no code needed on this one. So all you have to do is visit allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. Again, that's allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN, and you can order before October 31st. And as always, this is not medical advice. Please consult with a licensed physician to determine what's best for your care. Let's also go to Monetary Gold. For years, the signs have been clear, but most Americans ignore them. Now the storm beneath the dollar is impossible to miss. Gold has broken through $4,000 an ounce. Silver past 50, and it isn't luck, it's logic. And when governments spend beyond their means, when every crisis is met with another trillion printed out of thin air, the value of your money must fall, unfortunately. History proves it. Every time a currency weakens, gold and silver rise to reveal the truth. Now, these metals don't depend on promises. They don't vanish when confidence collapses. They endure. That's why the world's strongest institutions are moving into physical gold quietly but decisively. Now is your moment to do the same. All you have to do is call that number there to get an info kit, 888-617-7994 right now, or visit rsbnforthegold.com. Take what you've built and make it real before the next headline reminds you that paper wealth is just that, paper. Two great sponsors here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Without our great sponsors, none of the live coverage from overseas or back here stateside in Washington, D.C., we'd be able to show you any of it without our great sponsors and without many of you that donate to this great network. 10:48, Monday, October 27th. Thanks again for joining us. We're looking at a number of stories right now. The president already accomplished a lot. The White House posting the following, that President Trump secured peace and prosperity in Malaysia in one day, brokered the Kuala Lumpur Peace Accords, secured trade deals with Malaysia and Cambodia, joint trade with Thailand and Vietnam, and also elevated U.S.-Malaysia relations, bringing billions to the United States, among other accomplishments. Let's take a look at some of that visual proof from over the past 24 to 48 hours. And we'll show you that right now as President Trump arrived to Malaysia. And many of you saw this online over the weekend. Check it out. It was the video seen around the globe as you guys saw President Trump being greeted by the leaders there in Malaysia. And of course, the Trump dance, Malaysia version. Pretty awesome stuff. Good times. A few people had a good smile and a laugh out of that. And it was great to see it. And great to have President Trump as the United States representative for all of us. That's what the majority of the country voted for the past 3 elections, as you guys know. So great to see the president there. We're going to see a lot more of the president's trip over the past 24 to 48 hours. And then a bit later tonight, we'll be letting you know about the press conference, the bilateral meeting between the president and the Prime Minister of Japan. Before we continue our coverage from Asia, let's go to a couple of our great sponsors, including Kalshi.com/RSBN. You look there, you can see when will Bitcoin hit $150,000. A lot of different questions on there when it comes to the mayoral race in New York or weather, science, technology, sports, faith, politics, all sorts of stuff. More than 1 million users on Kalshi.com/RSBN. You can download the app or you can go to that QR code if you'd like. Let's go from Kalshi. Let's go to Spring, Texas, where Angel Paste is from. A number of great products there, including the flagship product that you see on your screen. That is the Miracle Cream. Now, also, if you use the RSBN promo code, you'll get a percentage off of every product that you order on angelpaste.com. They hire military veterans, a longtime sponsor here at Right Side, a great sponsor, and always good to support, especially conservative businesses, but small businesses as well. Let's go to Cove Pure now. As many of you know, who wants to drink tap water? I don't know how many really do. Well, Cove Pure is the place to go. CovePure.com/RSBN. You get $200 off for a limited time right now. This thing will take away 99.9% of all the junk that's in tap water, which I'll tell you, when you do certain measurements of how much stuff is in there, it's awful. But with Cove Pure, you drink pure, you live pure, you have a great tasting water right there. Also, it's clean. There's no aftertaste. It's the good stuff. It's water the way it's meant to be. And you can also, as you see there, it could be cold, warm, or hot, whatever temperature you want. So CovePure.com/RSBN. 3 great sponsors here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. It is 1 minute from the top of the hour, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. That means it's about 12 midnight in Tokyo, since it's 13 hours ahead of East Coast time. In the meantime, let's return to Asia. Over the past 24 to 48 hours, President Trump accomplishing a whole heck of a lot. So let's continue that. President Trump signing with Cambodia and Thailand as a lot of these peace and trade agreements are happening.
Well, this is so exciting, because we did something that a lot of people said couldn't be done, and we saved maybe millions of lives on this one peace deal itself. And I'll tell you what makes me so happy is the 2 countries we're dealing with, and the third that helped so much, I appreciate so much. Maybe it couldn't have been done without you, but they really like each other. I'm not used to that when I do these deals. Usually there's a lot of hatred. They liked each other, so it made it a little bit easier. But millions of people are alive today because of this peace treaty. So before I begin, I want to extend our deepest condolences to the Prime Minister, Newton, as well as His Majesty, the King of Thailand, and the entire nation on the passing of Her Majesty, Queen Sirikhet, the Queen Mother, and a beautiful, incredible woman who is so respected all over the world, actually respected. I know the people of Thailand will remember her forever as the embodiment of dignity, kindness, and grace. This just happened. But this is a woman who was so loved and respected. Today we honor the memory by bringing the blessing of peace to the nation she dearly loved. She loved this nation like few people love their nations. This is a momentous day for all of the people of Southeast Asia as we sign a historic agreement to end the military conflict between Cambodia and Thailand. And we're so honored to be involved in that. It was so important to me. 2 great countries, but they were going at it. I want to congratulate the two courageous leaders, and that's what they are. They were courageous, who are taking this monumental step. Prime Minister Hun Manet and Prime Minister Newton. I also want to thank Prime Minister Anwar of Malaysia. I called him right at the beginning and I said, you know, you have two countries that are fighting right next to you. We need a third place. We need a sort of a neutral place, right? And he was there, and I said to him, you know, if we get this solved, I'm coming to your country. And I told the truth, didn't I? A lot of times they say that, and that's the last you ever see. But I felt I had an obligation to come because you were so great, and the two men alongside of you are so great. Historic figures now, they're really historic figures. So I felt it was an obligation I had. I told it to you. That was about a year ago, and all of this has taken place. It's been so beautiful to see. It had started, and there was a lot of killing, and then when we got it stopped very quickly in this case. Some we did in 32 years. It took 32 years to get them stopped. They were fighting for a long time. This was very nasty, but it was stopped very quickly before it started, and the two leaders have great respect for each other. But the Prime Minister played a very important role in helping convene the two sides for discussions here in Kuala Lumpur. Earlier this year, an armed clash broke out along the border of these two countries, really ancient countries by most standards. They've been long time, tremendous cultures, resulting in numerous deaths and thousands and thousands of people displaced from their homes. It was starting because of America's strong commitment to stability and peace in this region and every region where we can do it. My administration immediately began working to prevent the conflict from escalating. I held phone calls with both leaders. I was actually at Turnberry in Scotland when I did this. And we had a lot of phone calls, the three of us and then the four of us. We had a lot of phone calls. It was a beautiful day. I remember how beautiful it was. Turnberry is a great place, but I said, this is much more important than playing around the Gulf. So we sat there all day long making phone calls, and it was amazing the way it came together very quickly. I mean, really very quickly. You caused me very good entertainment. I could have had a lot of fun, but this is much more fun for me than anything having to do with almost anything, because you're saving people and saving countries. But ask them to choose the path of prosperity and peace over needless bloodshed and war. At the end of July, after extremely productive discussions, we reached a ceasefire agreement. And now these gentlemen, and they really are gentlemen, high-quality people, both went to college in the United States, and now these gentlemen are about to sign what we're calling the Kuala Lumpur Peace Accords. Good name. Both countries are agreeing to cease all hostilities and work to build good neighborly relationships, which have already started. 18 Cambodian prisoners of war will be released, and under this agreement, observers from ASEAN countries, including Malaysia, will be deployed to make sure that the peace prevails and endures. I have no doubt that it will. We have another situation like that right now in the Middle East, and Gaza. You might have read a little bit about Gaza, and that's another one we're very proud of. But we have a lot of people watching that. A lot of people. I think this is a much different kind of a thing. The two countries are getting along really well. Today, alongside this peace treaty, we also are signing a major trade deal with Cambodia and a very important critical minerals agreement with Thailand. The United States will have a robust commerce and cooperation transactions, lots of them, with both nations as long as they live in peace. And I really feel that when we make deals, we see two countries that we do a lot of business with. We do a lot of business with both of them. We have to use that business to make sure they don't get into wars. But this is going to be a very long peace. So as you know, this is one of 8 wars that my administration has ended in just 8 months. We're averaging one a month. There is only one left, although I heard that Pakistan and Afghanistan have started up, but I'll get that solved very quickly. I know them both, and the Pakistan, the Field Marshal and the Prime Minister are great people, and I have no doubt we're going to get that done quickly. That one started up a few days ago. And I just feel it's something I can do. I do it nicely. I don't need to do it, I guess, but if I can take time and save millions of lives, that's really a great thing. I can't think of anything better to do. But the 8 wars that my administration has ended in just 8 months, there's never been anything like that. Never. There never will be either. I can't think of any president that ever solved one war. I don't think anybody. They start wars, they don't solve them. So nothing like this has been done in history, and it's an honor to be involved. On behalf of the United States, I'm proud to help settle this conflict and really develop good friendships, including people that work with each team. Look at these very distinguished people, except for my people. My people are much less distinguished, but they're very good. But look, my people understand the joke. But look at these very distinguished people, and I've gotten to know them. I want to thank Marco Rubio for being here, who's great. You always help. He's born for this job. He really was. He was born for this job. Secretary of State Jameson, thank you very much for all you did on helping too. He's the foremost expert on trade, and we're going to be doing another couple of stops where we'll be talking about no war, just pure trade. We'll be talking to President Xi in a day. We'll be stopping at Japan. We'll be stopping at South Korea, and we'll be doing some other things, but they're more related to trade. But on behalf of the United States, I'm proud to help settle this conflict and forge a future for the region where proud independent nations can prosper and thrive, safety, security, and peace. It's an amazing thing that's happened to the United States because a year and a half ago, we were a dead country. We were actually a dead country, and now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. And when I called you, we were in the process of becoming hot. It's actually quite a while right now, but we were sort of on our way. And we had won the election big in a massive amount. And so I was respected when I called you, and it was a little bit easier. I think it's easier when you respect somebody than if you don't respect somebody. If you don't respect somebody, it never happens. But I won't forget that day because it was one of the first wars that I got involved in. And I love doing it. It's like, I shouldn't say it's a hobby because it's so much more serious than a hobby, but it's something that I'm good at, and it's something I love to do. The United Nations should be doing this, but they don't do it. You know, they don't do it. They turned off my teleprompter when I made a speech. I had to make a speech without a teleprompter. They're good at that. The escalator wasn't working too well. It came to a complete halt. But, I mean, the United Nations has such great potential. I wish they could do it. They didn't get involved with us at all. We just did the deal and reported the deal, and everybody was sort of amazed that we got it done so quickly and so nicely. But now I'd like to ask Prime Minister Anwar to say a few words, and then we'll hear from Prime Minister Hun Manet and Prime Minister Newton. And these are, I just have to say it for a last time, these are incredible men. The way they came together, the way they worked so hard, and we worked long hours. It was not long days because the days were few in number, but the hours were very long and very intense. There was a lot of intensity going on because there was a lot of shooting happening while we were talking. That brings it to a new level. And the 3 men sitting there should really be credited with having done just an incredible job for humanity. Thank you all very much. It's an honor to have worked with you. Appreciate it. Please.
Thank you, President Donald J. Trump, for giving us this honor. And on behalf, of course, Malaysia and our colleagues in ASEAN, I must thank you for your concern, for your empathy, and for your commitment to support this peace deal. When I first received your call, and then urging me to do more in supporting our initiative, and you personally did call both prime ministers to urge for a speedy peace settlement, I would say a great thank you. And we, of course, admire your tenacity, your courage, because the world needs leaders who promote peace strongly. And and to achieve that, you have to break some rules, as you did today. When President arrived, he asked me to join him in the car. I said, that's against the security and protocol rules. And he was delighted to break the rules, and I... It was a nice ride. And we share a lot of things in common. I was in prison, but he almost got there. But very good exchanges on a number of issues. Of course, priorities, of course, the peace deal. Thank you, both Prime Ministers. You did a great job. We are delighted to have you as colleagues, as true friends. And you understand the need to secure peace to save our people. And also the ASEAN position as a region of peace and prosperity. And I must also share with you here that I took the opportunity, full opportunity, without Secretary Rubio knowing this, exploring other issues too, and thank the President for his effort to secure peace in many parts of the world, including Gaza, and urging him to remain focused and ensure that there's a comprehensive peace that the world requires. And I am delighted, truly, President, to hear from you personally how determined you are to ensure that peace is achieved in the most intractable areas, almost impossible. But you did it, and we have shown our support and call on the United States in particular to continue this with the support of many, not only neighbors, but the part of the world. But I must also take this opportunity to thank Secretary Rubio, Jamison, and Ambassador Kagan, because they were very helpful. I mean, you didn't say that, but I must say that, because they were extremely helpful in ensuring that you come here. I mean, I wasn't sure when you said to me, yes, Prime Minister, I know I'm coming. Well, I'm not sure, because, you know, I deal with a lot of politicians. But you are an exception. Thank you, Mr. Donald Trump. Thank you very much again.
President Donald Trump, Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, Prime Minister Anutin Chanvirakul, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Today marks a historic moment, profound significance for Cambodia and Thailand, a day that reaffirms our shared conviction that peace is always possible when nations have the courage and wisdom to pursue it together. On behalf of the Cambodian peoples, I wish to express my deepest gratitude to President Donald J. Trump for his decisive leadership and steadfast commitment to supporting the lasting peace between Cambodia and Thailand, and for his tireless efforts to make it a reality. I also wish to convey my sincere appreciations to Prime Minister Anwar for his unwavering support and facilitation throughout this peace process until successful conclusions. I further extend my appreciations to my ASEAN colleagues, China, and other partners who have been supporting the ceasefire from the beginning. The principles that underpin this joint declaration are those that Cambodia holds dear. That no matter how difficult or complex our dispute may be, they must always be resolved through peaceful means in full conformity with existing treaties and international law. Cambodia reaffirms a strong commitment to fully and faithfully implementing these joint declarations and to continuing to work closely with Thailand and all our partners to ensure that this peace endures and brings tangible benefit to our peoples. We look forward to continued support and contribution of international communities and partners to fruitful realizations of the joint declarations. As we speak, I think our two commanders are discussing on the possibility of start of withdrawal, partial withdrawal of the first phase of our heavy weapons as an indication of our willingness to show that the execution of the joint declarations. At the same time, I hope
I strongly hope for the prompt release of our 18 soldiers on humanitarian grounds and as agreed in the joint declarations. Finally, recognizing your unwavering dedications and resolute effort to promote peace, and not only between Cambodia and Thailand, but also among other nations. And reflecting the gratitude of the Cambodian peoples, I have nominated President Donald J. Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. And he, like I say, peace saves life. And this is the wish of our Cambodian people as appreciation for the President. So thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you.
President Trump, Prime Minister Anwar, Prime Minister Hun Manet, Excellencies, distinguished colleagues, today marks a new chapter for Thailand and Cambodia. Today we take a concrete step towards peace. I would like to thank Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim for the leadership as ASEAN Chair and your strong efforts in upholding ASEAN unity. And I also wish to express my sincere appreciation to President Donald J. Trump for your personal dedication to peace between our two countries. And in addition, I thanks so much for the kind words of condolences that the President has given to our country on the great loss of our beloved Queen Mother. It means a lot to Thai people. We have come a long way since agreeing to the ceasefire here in Malaysia on 28th of July. The discussions since then have led to this important outcome, which is the signing of our joint declaration today. And I have to thank Prime Minister Hun Manet for his cooperation and support that led us to this moment. Thailand stands for peace. This declaration reflects our will to resolve differences peacefully, in full respect of sovereignty and territorial integrity. This declaration, if fully implemented, will provide the building blocks for a lasting peace. But more importantly, it will begin the process of mending our ties. Our border communities have been divided by conflict, and innocent civilians have suffered immense losses. This declaration places a firm responsibility on our two parties to act. I believe we can achieve what seemed beyond reach a few months ago. To this end, I welcome the agreement that following the signing of this joint declaration today, both sides will begin implementing all the agreed points, in particular, promptly removing heavy weapons from the border areas to ensure the safety of our people, to build confidence and trust. And Thailand will also begin the process of releasing the 18 detained Cambodian soldiers. We have a responsibility to act in earnest and in good faith, and that we restore livelihoods and protect the well-being of our communities along our shared border. To achieve real change on the ground, what we agree on here must be implemented. Only then can we truly turn to a new page. Only then can we assure that our people's security and safety. Only then can we achieve real peace. This is what our people expect of us, and this is what they deserve. Peace with dignity. Going forward, I call on our friends to continue supporting this process so that the joint declaration is implemented fully and in good faith, rebuilding stability, trust and renew cooperation between Thailand and Cambodia and across our region. I am also pleased that today we announced the joint statement on the framework for a U.S.-Thailand agreement on reciprocal trade, which I hope will facilitate our negotiations on tariffs for conclusion by end of this year. We will also sign the MOU between our governments on cooperation on critical minerals, which will further promote resilient and sustainable supply chains for years to come. Thank you once again. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Signature can't be forged. We didn't use the auto pen, right? No auto pen. We don't want auto pens. Thank you, man. Congratulations. Thank you once again, Mr. President. We'll see you. Yes, good. Thank you very much, everybody.
We have additional agreements,
day.
Mr. President.
Yes.
We have the Cambodian trade deal, and we have the critical minerals agreement to sign.
We're going to sign another. We're
More
signing our trade
agreements,
deal.
yes,
I thought we
sir.
could forget about this deal. They make a very good deal.
This is the Cambodian trade deal,
Good.
Mr. President.
And this is a great deal for both countries. This is really great. You've wanted that. You've wanted that.
The President has a special pen.
Special pen. I do have.
And this is the Thai critical minerals.
Okay.
No, it's not good. It's a disaster.
That's all that is. Just all of them together.
I'm just witness.
We can do a merger on this last.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and congratulations, everybody. It's a very big deal. Thank you very much.
Thank you to come down to thank your team. Thank you. Thank you very much.
The president of peace, of course, there in Asia. It is the bottom of the hour. It's 11:30 here on the East Coast. Thanks so much for joining us. As the president now is in Tokyo, where it's early Tuesday morning. So Japan is 13 hours ahead of East Coast time. Tonight, the president will be meeting with the prime minister of Japan. So we'll have that live coverage if all goes to plan when it comes to scheduling. We'll have that for you here. In the meantime, this all brought to you by a number of great sponsors, including Perplexity. You know, there's something called Comet right there. And the quick question I have for you is, how much time do you spend every day on a web browser? Searching, scrolling, typing, endless tabs. It's a lot, right? Well, there's a new AI web browser from Perplexity. It's called Comet. I've used this before. It's completely changing the way you're able to interact with your browser. So using Comet feels like having a personal assistant living in your web browser that can actually do things for you across the internet, actually do things and not just give you answers. You can ask Comet to handle tasks for you, and it literally clicks, types, searches, and scrolls just like you would to get things done for you in the background while you go about your day. So Comet can shop for you, make reservations, book travel, summarize articles or videos, send emails, schedule meetings, and a lot more to make your life easier. So download Perplexity's new AI web browser, Comet, by heading to that website you see on the bottom right of your screen there. Let your browser work for you. Plus, right now, when you download Comet, you get a month of Rumble Premium for free. That's the website there, pplx.ai/RSBN. You can go now and take back your time online. Also, let's go to All Family Pharmacy as we await our next live, or actually within the past 24/7 news cycle, video from Asia. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and this is a time when many families are searching for clarity, for hope, and for options worth learning about. Now, more people today are exploring these repurposed medications like mebendazole for its potential cancer support and ongoing research. All Family Pharmacy believes you deserve access and the freedom to explore what may feel right for you and your loved ones. They make the process simple. A licensed doctor reviews every order to ensure it's appropriate, and your medication is shipped directly to your door. And for this final week of October, they're offering 40% off mebendazole. The offer ends October 31st. So the discount is actually automatically applied at checkout, so there's no code needed there. Just go to allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN to learn more. Again, that's allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN, and you can order before October 31st. And as always, this is not medical advice. Please consult with the licensed physician to determine what's best for your care. allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. Let's also go to mypillow.com/RSBN. You see the 6-piece towel sets are back in stock. There's a lot of great products, as you guys know, on MyPillow. And always good to support Mike Lindell, who today is the deadline for that appeal in the court situation when it comes to elections and all that. We had Mike on for a part 1 and part 2 interview last week. So today's a big day for Mike. Support him through mypillow.com/RSBN, and you can check out other ways to support Mike by searching out there for Mike Lindell and election integrity. Also, let's go to a number of other great sponsors, including RSBN Donate. If you'd like to donate to the network, all you have to do is text RSBN to 801-801, and then just go to rsbnetwork.com/donate. 2 great ways to give us money so we can keep doing what we're doing here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, including we have some great sponsors, as you guys have seen. All right, let's go now to the recent United States and Malaysia trade deal announcement. We have a number of local stories in the sense of domestic stories that we're following. We'll get to some of that in a bit. Also, a bit later, we know that the president on Air Force One had about a 30-minute press goggle on the way to Tokyo. So he also talked about Elon Musk and many other topics of discussion. We'll get to all that coming up. But let's go now to the recent United States and Malaysia trade deal announcement.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to do it. We worked very closely with the Malaysian government during the past few months to agree to an agreement on reciprocal trade. As you know, the United States has massive trade deficits with many countries in the world. We do have a trade deficit with Malaysia. However, we have engaged in very constructive discussions over the past few months, and we have drafted a substantive, comprehensive agreement on reciprocal trade that will, on the one hand, address our trade deficit and also enhance trade between our two countries. Malaysia, for its part, is going to be modifying its tariffs and non-tariff barriers, and we intend to have a lot more trade in ag and industry and technology and services, and we continue to be a great destination for the goods and services that Malaysia produces. That's all.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to both leaders, and thank you to Mr. Greer. We had a tough negotiations, but I believe that the agreement that we are going to witness today will mark a significant milestone when it comes to trade and investment with the U.S. And I believe that going forward with the commitment and the joint statement that we'll make today, we will see further improvements, not just in trade relations, but also investment in both ways. So I'd like to say thank you to Ambassador Greer. He's been tough, but he's been fair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great honor. Let's go. That's very interesting.
Not as interesting as yours.
That's a very interesting signature he's got. Wait a minute, I'll show you that. Look at his signature. How interesting is that? Very good. Very artistic. Thank you very much. Congratulations, and thank you, James. Great job. Appreciate it. Marco, thank you very much.
agreement on critical minerals.
Okay.
So this agreement on critical minerals, this ensures that trade and investment in critical minerals between Malaysia and the United States can be as free as possible and as resilient as possible. We live in a world where having these critical minerals is important to our manufacturing, to our technology, to our economies, and it is very important that we cooperate as willing partners with each other to ensure that we can have smooth supply chains, secure supply chains for the quality of life of our people and security of our economies.
Well, we're looking forward to the technology that U.S. is going to bring on this critical mineral, and we will certainly looking forward for the discussion in the future. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. Now we're going to the ASEAN, and we're going to have a lot of different leaders. We'll be with them for a little while, and we'll stay here tonight, and we'll head off to a very beautiful country tomorrow. We have some very good, interesting deals, as you know, that we made. And the following day, as you know, we meet President Xi of China.
You'll all be there.
And that should be, are you going to be there?
Yeah, APEC.
Oh, good. At APEC, yes. So it'll be, it's quite a period. It's quite an interesting time. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody.
All right. So again, Japan is 13 hours ahead of East Coast time. So President Trump has landed in Tokyo, where it's 12:39 in the morning there in Tokyo. We have a lot of coverage to get to. Let's go to a commercial break before we go to more coverage. We'll be right back here on Right Side Broadcasting Network.
Vegetables, and even clouds. They've been detected in human blood, lungs, and brain tissue. One study estimated the average person consumes the equivalent of a credit card's worth of plastic every single week. And it's not slowing down. Plastic production is expected to triple by 2060, meaning the air you breathe, the rain that falls, and the food that sustains you will only become more contaminated. Once microplastics enter your body, they don't pass through harmlessly. They scrape and tear at your intestinal lining, triggering constant inflammation and disrupt your microbiome, the command center of your immune system and metabolism. They carry toxic additives and heavy metals that leach into your bloodstream, disturbing your hormones, damaging DNA, and accelerating aging from the inside out. Doctors are finding links between microplastic exposure and infertility, heart disease, autoimmune disorders, and early cognitive decline. And here's the worst part. Your body can't break them down. They build up year after year, like invisible shrapnel lodged inside your organs. But recently, researchers studying traditional Korean kimchi discovered something incredible. A probiotic strain called Bacillus pumilus, found only in kimchi, can actually degrade BPA plastics. In the lab, these bacteria were shown to break down BPA into harmless components, literally digesting one of the most persistent plastic toxins known to science. And the source? Not a pharmaceutical factory, not $1 billion biotech lab. It came from kimchi, a food that's been part of human diets for over 2,000 years. Kimchi is one of the world's most powerful superfoods, and let's be honest, it's messy, strong-smelling, and not exactly easy to eat every single day. That's why Brightcore created Kimchi One, to give you all the benefits of premium fermented kimchi in convenient capsule form. No mess, no taste, no hassle. Each capsule delivers over 900 probiotic strains, live enzymes, and antioxidants that help restore balance in your gut and health to the rest of your body. People are seeing improvements in digestion, energy, even cardiovascular and brain health. Studies show that kimchi can even reduce the risk of obesity, promote smaller waistlines, and lower BMI. Kimchi One is all natural, non-GMO, dairy-free, gluten-free, soy-free, and 100% made in the USA, so just about anyone can take it. We're living in a toxic world. You must do something proactive.
And you can use code RSBN for 25% off your order by going to mybrightcore.com/RSBN, or for an even better deal, call Brightcore and you'll get up to 50% off plus free shipping. All you have to do is call the number you see on your screen, 888-722-0936. Remember, you only get the 50% off and free shipping when you call. Again, that number, 888-722-0936. Great sponsor here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. Meantime, President Trump held a meeting with the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Let's take a look.
Very much. It's an honor to be here. And friends, this room. Thank so many good friends. I want to thank Prime Minister Anwar for hosting us. The background man for organizing this year's ASEAN Summit. Really beautiful. All on board. As you know, this has been an incredibly successful day for Malaysia. We're honored to be here. I promised I'd be here when the Prime Minister helped us so beautifully history in one of two very friendly countries I think we can say right now. And here I am, really shocked to see what you've done. The United States and world nations across this magnificent region, we're all watching and listening. Thank you very much. Today, the Prime Minister and I signed a major trade deal between the United States and Malaysia together. We took part in the signing of a historic peace agreement ending the hostilities between Cambodia and Thailand. We're calling it the Kuala Lumpur Peace Accords. Once again, I want to congratulate Prime Minister Hun Manet of Cambodia and Prime Minister Anu Thailand, who had to return home because of the Queen's passing. This magnificent woman, known all over the world and respected by everybody. But this was a great achievement that she was very proud of. I also want to thank the other ASEAN countries for agreeing to send observers, and in most cases, the heads of state. Heads of state to help ensure a lasting settlement. Today's signing represents just one of 8 conflicts that we've ended in 8 months of the Trump presidency, and we're honored to have had we saved millions of lives. It also includes the end of the war in Gaza. It's kind of a very strong agreement with 59 countries involved. We have numerous of them right here at this table. As an example, Indonesia, my new friend. Thank you very much, Al. I appreciate it. I want to thank Malaysia and Brunei as well as my friend, President Prabowo of Indonesia for their incredible support of these efforts to secure the new day for the Middle East. It really is a new day. There's never been a period of time like this. The Middle East will have peace after 3,000 years. A very strong peace, it's going to be everlasting peace. It really is a true pleasure to be back with all of you in Southeast Asia, almost some of America's most important allies, countries, and partners. The entire world, they look up to you and you're on a mission of friendship and goodwill and to deepen our ties with commerce, to strengthen our economy security, and to really promote strongly stability, prosperity, and peace for all of the countries in this room and long beyond this room. That's why I'm delighted that in addition to the agreement with Malaysia this week, we're also signing or nearing completion on the trade deals with many other Indo-Pacific partners from Cambodia to Japan to South Korea. We're delighted for richer partnerships from energy, technology, artificial intelligence, critical minerals, and other industries. The United States is having its golden age. Last year, we were a country that was doing very poorly under different kind of my leadership. I don't even call it leadership. This year we're doing numbers that nobody ever thought it was possible for any country to do. We'll be, at the end of my first year, over $20 trillion worth of investment into the United States. There's no country anywhere that's ever done anything close to that. The United States last year, in 4 years, announced gave less than $1 trillion, and we're going to keep going over 20. It's one of the difference. And to crusade the United States is for you, committed to a free and open and thriving Indo-Pacific message to the nations of Southeast Asia and the United States is with you 100%, and we intend to be a strong partner and friend for many generations to come. 1 year ago, we were in a different position, but now we're in the best position we've ever been. And I really do. I say it's the golden age of America, golden age of the United States. Together we'll create incredible prosperity for the nations on both sides of the Pacific Ocean and to seize new opportunities for all of our people. It's really been an amazing experience. I've been here for a day, but it's been an amazing experience to see some of the things that you've done. And the Prime Minister made sure I saw everything, every single thing. When I said, well, that's okay, maybe I'll take it easy for the law, I said, no, I don't think so. We even rode in the car together, and he saw America's ties to this region date back to the early days of our republic when fearless Americans voyaged across the Pacific to establish outposts of trade and diplomacy in our nation. Those bonds forged so long ago continue to strengthen and grow to this day, including here in Kuala Lumpur. I'm looking forward to speaking with many of you today, and also at APEC in South Korea later this week, where we're heading. Once again, thank you very much, Mr. Prime Minister, and thank you to everyone in this room. You are spectacular leaders. You are incredible people. Your energy, your genius, everything you do.
All right, not the greatest audio there, but you still get the gist of what's going on. And we have pretty good audio coming up. The White House actually just posted a new video about the president's trip so far in Asia. Let's take a look at that right now here on RSBN Live. And again, the president now in Tokyo, 13 hours ahead of us in the East Coast time frame there, 11:50 here on the East Coast. Thanks so much for watching on the West Coast, Mountain Time Zone, Central Time Zone, East Coast, and anywhere else that you're watching. Thanks so much for doing so as we get ready to watch some more from President Trump's trip to Asia. Before we get to that, let's go to a number of our great sponsors. Monetary Gold is one of them. For years, unfortunately, the signs have been clear, but most Americans ignored them. Now the storm beneath the dollar is impossible to miss. Gold has broken through $4,000 an ounce. Silver past $50. And it's not luck, it's logic. When governments spend beyond their means, when every crisis is met with another trillion printed out of thin air, the value of your money must fall. History proves it. Every time currency weakens, gold and silver rise to reveal the truth. So these metals don't depend on promises. They don't vanish when confidence collapses. They endure. That's why the world's strongest institutions are moving into physical gold quietly but decisively. Now is your moment to do the same. All you have to do is call that number there on the screen, 888-617-7994 right now, or visit rsbnforthegold.com. You'll get that free info kit on gold. And you can take what you've built and make it real before the next headline reminds you that paper wealth is just that. Paper. We're about 8 minutes from the top of the hour. Let's go to another sponsor here on Right Side Broadcasting Network, including Kalshi. Kalshi.com/RSBN. You can go to the QR code you see on the screen or just download the app. A lot of different things to check out there. Topics, science, technology, sports, all sorts of stuff. Bet, trade, or check out the polls. You can go to Kalshi.com/RSBN or just download the app. More than 1 million users on Kalshi. Great sponsor here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. All right. After this next video, we'll get into some more domestic news and other stories that are happening out there. In the meantime, let's go back to President Trump, where in Malaysia, this is the departure from Malaysia. So then after that, we'll go to the Air Force One press gaggle as he was on his way to Tokyo, Japan. And we'll bring you the latest videos that we have. And then later tonight, the president will be meeting with the Prime Minister of Japan for a bilateral meeting. We'll have all of that for you. So glad you're with us here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. This is RSBN Live. I'm Matthew Alvarez. A bit later, Robert McNeely will be live for that coverage. As long as everything goes right with the schedule from overseas for any live feeds to us, we'll have that all for you coming up. Let's go now to a recorded feed within the past 24 hours of President Trump departing from Malaysia. All right, President Trump, of course, boarding Air Force One now in Tokyo, where it's about 12:56 in the morning, as in Tuesday morning, not 12:56 Eastern time. So 13 hours ahead of us. We're going to get to the Air Force One press gaggle, which is about a half an hour of footage. But before we get to that, a number of stories that we're tracking. But speaking of that footage, by the way, President Trump talking about a lot of topics, including Elon Musk and others. So looking forward to watching that in its entirety. I have not seen it yet. I've been on air, so we're going to watch it together. But meantime, back here stateside, here's a few stories that we're tracking today. We are 8 days from Election Day, November 4th, of course, on Tuesday, the New Jersey gubernatorial race. The same thing with Virginia. The New York City mayoral race happening on Tuesday. And just the other day, actually just last night, AOC was trying to stump for Zohran Mamdani. And AOC was there, Bernie Sanders, Kathy Hochul. Like, You'd think Kathy Hochul at least would be supporting Andrew Cuomo, but no, supporting the extreme communists there. Just recently, just kind of on the fly right now, ALX on Truth Social posted a video from AOC's speech yesterday. I'm going to play just the soundbite right here on my phone for you, if you could just listen in as soon as I get to it. He says this quote here. I'll show you what is said by AOC. She goes, last night, she said, "We are not the crazy ones. New York City, they want us to think we are crazy. We are sane." That according to AOC. So let's just play that real quick on the fly here. It's just a 20-second soundbite. Here we go.
We are not the crazy ones, New York City. We are not the outlandish ones, New York City. They want us to think we are crazy. We are sane.
So, you know, even at the end, we are sane with really no applause because they kind of realize, no, they're the ones on the loopy side, you know, and we hope that they would see the light. We hope for those of you that believe out there would be saved or, you know, get on the right side of history or be detoxed from all that indoctrination. I mean, who can argue with what President Trump is doing right now and what we the people want? A sealed border, which it's already sealed, mass deportations. Why not? I mean, it's a law that has been broken already if you're here in the country illegally. And there's so many other things. Of course, the Marxism, communism, socialism, the technocracy, all the stuff that is so anti-God family country. And interviewed Mayra Flores. She's running for the 34th district of a congressional seat in Texas just the other day. I posted that on Truth Social if you'd like to check it out. She's someone that has a great success story of when you are a legal immigrant. She was born in Mexico, legally came to the United States, and is all about God, family, country, and President Trump, and we the people, and all the good things, right? So just an update there from New York City. Got off track there because when I looked at some of the notes of the things that we're tracking here, again, the New Jersey gubernatorial race, Virginia gubernatorial race, we know that Earl Winsome Sears is the Republican in that one for Virginia, of course. And then, of course, in New Jersey, a Republican there too. But the New York City mayoral race, just to think that communism at our shores there, if Zoran Mamdani wins that, I don't know. My parents were born in New York. I've worked in New York and did some coverage in New York at a rally when President Trump was there in the Bronx. But to think that, I wonder how many people are actually going to leave the city if that's the case. So that's a big, big story to watch, of course, as it's day 27 of the government shutdown. On Sunday, November 2nd, we'll also turn our clocks back, except for Arizona, of course. So if you want to take a look at that poll there, it's 6 days from now. I posted this yesterday. I said 7 days away from turning our clocks back an hour. Great. Darker earlier? Or are we still doing this? Go ahead and check out the poll if you'd like at Matthew Alvarez. Meantime, as we get ready to air more of our coverage from Asia, and specifically President Trump's trip from Malaysia to Tokyo on Air Force One with the press gaggle, let's go over a couple very important Truth Social posts from President Trump. This one here, saying a few days ago, just in, documents show conclusively that Christopher Wray, deranged Jack Smith, Merrick Garland, Lisa Monaco, and other crooked lowlives from the failed Biden administration signed off on Operation Arctic Frost. They spied on senators and congressmen and women and even tapped their calls. They cheated and rigged the 2020 presidential election. The president says these radical left lunatics should be prosecuted for their illegal and highly unethical behavior. To the next post, what's worse, the NBA players cheating at cards and probably much else, or the Democrats cheating on elections? The 2020 presidential election being rigged and stolen is a far bigger scandal. Look what happened to our country when a crooked moron became our president. We now know everything. The president says, I hope the DOJ pursues this with as much quote-unquote gusto as befitting the biggest scandal in American history. If not, it will happen again, including the upcoming midterms. No mail-in or early voting. Yes to voter ID. Watch how totally dishonest the California prop vote is. The president says millions of ballots being quote unquote shipped. Get smart, Republicans, before it is too late. 19 out of 20. Okay, so there's 20 core promises, as you guys know, for the American people. So for all of us. And as we know, number one, or many know, is seal the border. Number two is mass deportations. Number 7 is defend the Constitution. Number, 19 is one of my favorites now because it's all about securing our elections. It's always been the defend the Constitution one is my favorite, of course. Who doesn't want that? But securing our elections is partly doing that as well. So we're looking forward to, in the coming weeks, as President Trump returns from Asia, that the securing our election aspect, the voter ID, the paper ballots only, all of the things, right? Looking forward to seeing that really be secured, especially for the midterms, because that's all we want is a fair, free and fair election. And the majority of the nation, as you guys know, are on the right side of history. A majority. We're not talking just a small majority, a large majority. That's why we saw over the past 3 elections, President Trump had landslide victories, except for, what happened in 2020. So here we go. All right, so it's 12:03, Monday, October 27th. Let's get to a couple of our sponsors. And then we're going to get to a part that I hope everybody gets a chance to watch. I haven't seen it either. It's President Trump on Air Force One with the press for about 33 minutes. On the way to Tokyo, where the president is now. It's I believe 1 in the morning, Tuesday, in Tokyo right now. Let's go to All Family Pharmacy here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And this is a time when many families are searching for clarity, for hope, and for options worth learning about. More people today are exploring repurposed medications like mebendazole for its potential cancer support and ongoing research. All Family Pharmacy believes you deserve access and the freedom to explore what may feel right for you and your loved ones. So they make the process simple. A licensed doctor reviews every order to ensure it's appropriate, and your medication is shipped directly to your door. For this final week of October, they're offering 40% off mebendazole, and the offer ends on October 31st. And the discount is automatically applied at checkout, so there's no need for a code there. So all you have to do is go to allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. Again, that's allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. Order before October 31st. And as always, this is not medical advice. Please consult with a licensed physician to determine what's best for your care. allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. Let's go to a number of other sponsors, including angelpaste.com out of Spring, Texas. If you'd like to use the RSBN promo code there, you'll get quite the percentage off. A lot of great products out of Spring, Texas, angelpaste.com, including the flagship product there, the Miracle Cream. Great gift idea as well. They hire military veterans and are on the right side of history over there in Spring, Texas. Let's go now to covepure.com/RSBN. If you like drinking tap water, you don't have to listen to this sponsor read here in just a second, because this is all about anti-tap water. It's great because tap water is terrible. I don't know about you, but I don't like the way it tastes. I don't like that there's a bunch of junk in it, whether it's pharmaceuticals or chemicals, all this stuff. Well, with Cove Pure, you're going to get 99.9% of that junk out of there. So the water is going to taste better. There's not going to be a bad aftertaste. You get the option of cold, warm, or hot water. And again, much healthier to drink out of that than it is out of tap water. So just go to covepure.com/RSBN. You'll get $200 off right now for a limited time off of this machine here. This is a great product. Drink pure, live pure, covepure.com/RSBN. All right, let's go to President Trump on Air Force One on his way from Malaysia to Tokyo. This is about a 33-minute video, but always good to hear from the President of the United States of America.
How you doing, Mr. President? Bumpy weather, we're way up in the air. We're a little bit bumpy. So what's the word? Do you have any questions?
Sir, could you tell us a little bit about how the Lula meeting went yesterday?
Very good. We had a good meeting. We'll see what happens. I don't know if anything's going to happen, but we'll see. They'd like to do a deal. We'll see. Right now they're paying, I guess, 50% tariff. But we had a great meeting. It's happy birthday. I want to wish the president happy birthday. Okay? It's his birthday today. Did you know that?
No.
He's a very vigorous guy, actually, and I was very impressive. But today's his birthday, so happy birthday. All right, would you let him know, please?
Mr. President, a couple more questions on tariffs. Secretary Bessent and James Agreed.
He's right here.
Have both said.
Where is he? He's right here, the handsome guy behind
Hi,
him.
Mr. Secretary. You said you're near a framework to
He's sitting
prevent.
right over here. Wait, let me just give him a little room.
Hi, Mr. Secretary.
He's doing a good job. No, get over here. We also have Marco here.
You said can you give us a status on the preliminary talks with the Chinese and where that sets things up for Thursday's meeting?
So we had a very good meeting, Jameson and myself, with our counterpart, the Vice Premier, and we have a framework for President Trump, President Xi to decide on, and we discussed a wide range of things from tariffs, trade, fentanyl, substantial purchase of U.S. agricultural products.
And rare earths.
And rare earths.
But nothing has been agreed to yet. We'll
How do you
see.
feel
But
about
we feel good. I mean, we feel good. I feel better that this guy's got nice broad shoulders. If the plane makes a big turn or something, I'm grabbing his shoulder.
Please do.
You know what? I want you to stay over here. Marco, where are you? Come on over here. You want to move over here? I think you have some more room for yourself. Come on over here. We've got a good team. This is the greatest team ever assembled. You know that if I weren't elected president, in my opinion, every automobile company in the United States would be either bankrupt or very close to it. And instead, they're hitting record highs. Their stock is through the roof. You saw Ford and you saw General Motors yesterday go up big. It's all because of tariffs. If it weren't tariffs, it'd be just like it's been for the last 30 years, where we lost about 52% of our automobile manufacturing business. In my opinion, whether it be now or very shortly, if it weren't for what I've done as president, every automobile company in America would be bankrupt. Instead, they're doing phenomenal business. That's all because of tariffs. All right.
On the flight yesterday, you sent out your Truth Social about the Canada tariffs. Can you walk through when you expect those to take effect? And can I ask why?
No, we're gonna let them know. Ronald Reagan loved tariffs. He used them sparingly, which he probably would make a mistake. He made a mistake in that. And again, I was the biggest fan of Ronald Reagan, but on finance, on trade, it wasn't his strong suit. But he liked tariffs, and they totally changed that to say that he didn't, because they're catering to the Supreme Court. Because Canada's been ripping us off for a long time, and they're not going to rip us off anymore. Canada has been ripping us off for a long time. One of the most difficult countries to deal with has been Canada. As much as I love Canada itself and the people of Canada, they've just had a lot of bad representatives. They did a fake ad yesterday. They were caught. The Ronald Reagan Foundation was the one that caught them, and it was totally the opposite of what they said. So I don't like that. That's dirty pool, and you can't do that. And let me just tell you, they shouldn't have done it. And they've apologized, and they said, we're going to take the ad down. Well, they did it, but they did it very late. They let it play for another 2 nights, and now they took that ad down. So I don't know when it's going to kick in. We'll see, but I don't really want to discuss it. Let's go.
Can I just add, Mr. President, can I just add, this is an ad, that was an ad run by a provincial government in Canada. Why are you mad at the federal government?
Because whether it's provincial or Canada itself, they all knew exactly what the ad was. The Prime Minister knew, everybody knew. The Prime Minister knew what the ad was before it went on.
Will you see him in APEC? Do you want to meet with him?
I don't want to meet with them. No, I'm not going to be meeting with them for a while. No, I'm very happy with the deal we have right now with Canada. We're going to let it ride.
Well, we have Secretary Bessent here. Can you ask about the Fed search as well? Where are you on interviewing candidates for a new chair?
Yeah, we're down to 5. We're obviously traveling a lot now. We're going to continue. We're going to do a second round, and we hope to present a good slate to the president right after Thanksgiving. It'll ultimately be his choice. I think he's got some very strong
I'm thinking about
ideas.
him for a fact. What do you think?
Thinking about Secretary Bessent.
I'm thinking about Marco. Thinking about Jameson. Thinking about a lot of people.
I think Stephen Miller.
We do have a lot. Stephen Miller. How about Stephen Miller? We have a lot of candidates that want the job.
When do you think you'll make a decision?
I think it's the world's easiest job, but to get it right, you have to be very smart. And we have a person that's not at all smart right now, unfortunately. He should have been much lower, much sooner. That's why we call him Jerome Too Late Powell.
Sir, President, Russia said this week that they tested a new missile that can go more than 8,000 miles. Is that saber rattling for you? What is that?
They know we have a nuclear submarine, the greatest in the world, right off their shores. So, I mean, it doesn't have to go 8,000 miles. And they're not playing games with us. We're not playing games with them either. We test missiles all the time, but, you know, we do have a submarine, a nuclear submarine. We don't need to go 8,000 miles. And I don't think it's an appropriate thing for Putin to be saying either, by the way. He ought to get the war ended. A war that should have taken 1 week is now in its soon 4th year. That's what he ought to do instead of testing missiles.
Mr. President, should the EU use frozen Russian assets to help pay for defense of Ukraine?
I don't know. That's, you have to ask EU. I'm not involved in that. That's up to EU.
Are you considering additional sanctions against Russia?
You'll find out.
So, Mr. President, shipbuilding has been a big part of your trade deals with both South Korea and Japan. Why is it so important to increase our shipbuilding to counter China?
Well, pretty obvious answer to that, because we want more ships. We're going to be back in the shipbuilding industry. We have a lot of companies coming into our country now. They're going to start building. We have the shipyards available. You know, in World War II, we were the biggest in the world in shipbuilding, and then over the years, we went wokey and stupid and weak, and we started buying ships from everybody, and, you know, we lost that industry. But we'll get that industry back. We were the best at it, and we'll soon be very good at it, if not the best.
What are you going to announce in Japan? Can you give us any preview?
We're going to just announce great friendship. I look forward to meeting the new Prime Minister. I hear phenomenal things. She was a great ally and friend of Shinzo Abe, who was my friend, the former Prime Minister, and he was great. He was one of my best. He was one of the best, and the group, he was one of the best, really best. And I know they were very close, and I think philosophically they were close, which is good. It's going to be very good. That really helps Japan and the United States. I think she's going to be great.
Which CEOs are going to come to your dinner tomorrow? Can you say what companies?
I'd rather not say. You'll see tomorrow.
Are you planning to sign a final deal on TikTok on Thursday when you meet?
We might. That'll be one of the things we're discussing. Somebody reported it's been approved recently. I mean, we got an original approval from President Xi. I expect we'll have an approval, but I'd rather wait till a couple of days to let you know.
Is it part of the grand deal coming?
No, but it's something we're going to talk about.
Current 25% tariffs on China. Is the understanding from both countries that will remain regardless of?
No, I don't want to tell you what the understanding is, because what we understood yesterday or 2 days ago or even today is not going to be necessarily what it's going to be in 2 days. I mean, we're going to have a great talk. I have a lot of respect for President Xi. I like him a lot. He likes me a lot, I believe, and respects me, and I think he respects our country a lot. And I think we're going to have a successful transaction for both countries.
Have you been briefed on the incident on the Nimitz, both a fighter jet and a helicopter?
I've heard about it, yeah.
Do you know what happened there?
They're going to let me know pretty soon. I think they should be able to find out. It could be bad fuel. I mean, it's possible it's bad fuel. Very unusual that would happen to me.
You don't think there was foul play or anything?
No, I don't think so. No, they think it might be bad fuel. We're going to find out. Nothing to hide. We'll find out.
Sir, has there been a snag in terms of the South Korea trade talks? How is that?
No, I don't think so, Scott. Is there?
No, there are just a lot of details to work out. It's a very complicated deal, and I think we're very close.
Do you expect to finalize that on Wednesday, or will it maybe not quite be done?
I think not quite, but I think the overall framework is done. We're just getting crossing the T's, dotting the I's. That's what Ambassador Greer's team does, and nobody's better at it than they are.
Mr. President, you want to say something?
Sure. So with the Korea deal, there are a few parts to this. There's national security related issues, which are really not my wheelhouse, and we have some pure trade issues where they've had some non-tariff barriers to us for a long time, and we've resolved a lot of those. So that's great. And then there's another piece which is really about investment going forward. The Koreans have a great plan to invest in U.S. shipbuilding, even more than they've already done it. And so they're talking right now, frankly, about how to implement Korean investment in the United States in the best way to make sure that we're...
And especially toward shipbuilding. We're very much involved in getting the shipbuilding going again, which really, we should have never lost. Years ago, they lost that. Many decades ago. But we were number one. We'll be either number one or right up around now. China's making a lot of ships. I take my hat off to them. Now, they wouldn't if we had that situation where we charged essentially a fee. But we're not looking to hurt their shipbuilding industry.
Mr. President, are you concerned that
the Koreans asked for any visa guarantees after that immigration raid?
No, but you know how I feel. I was very much opposed. Look, when they come in and they're making very complex machinery, equipment, things, they're going to have to bring some people in, at least at the initial phase. In that case, it was batteries. Batteries are very complex, and they're actually very dangerous to make. You can't just pick people off an unemployment line and say, we just, opened up a $2 billion battery factory. So we've got an understanding. And this is with the world. By the way, this is not just with South Korea. This is when they come into our country. We have a lot of factories being built by foreign interests. When they come in, some of these factories make very, very complex, very highly sophisticated equipment. They've got to bring people in with them for a period of time. They'll teach our people how to do it, but even for a fairly long period of time, they're going to need expertise to be successful. And we're going to let people know, I'm letting them know right now, that when they come into our country, we can expect to see them bring in with them some very talented people that have been doing it for many years. They'll teach our people how to do it. Our people will be just as good as they are within a period of time, and it'll be a phase out. But we want them to bring in experts, and that's the way it is.
Mr. President, what visa would they come under, and how long?
We're going to have that set. We're doing a whole new plan for that. But what you can't expect, let's say they come in, for instance, we have massive number of chip companies, in particular one, the biggest by far, the biggest in the world, coming in. You can't expect them to make unbelievably complex chips and computers and other things and pick people off the unemployment line that haven't worked in 5 years. But we're going to, so I want them to come in with talented people, and they're going to, it'll be a phase out, a slow phase out.
Did I hear you right that you said you were opposed to the way that raid in Georgia was handled?
I was opposed to getting them out. And in fact, before they got out, they were pretty well set. But before they got out, I said they could stay. They went, they left, and they're going to be coming back.
Right. Did you see the results from the Argentina election? It looks like Milei's party.
Wow, what a great question that is. I love that question because that was a big win. In Argentina, I want to congratulate the victor, and he was a big victor, and he had a lot of help from us. He had a lot of help. I gave him an endorsement, a very strong endorsement, and it was really unexpected to have a victory of that. Some people thought it would be hard to win, and not only did he won by a lot. So Argentina, that was a great thing, and I give Scott and I give Jameson, everybody, Marco, a lot of credit for that because, we are sticking with a lot of the countries in South America. We're focused very much on South America, and we're getting a real strong handle on South America in a lot of ways, including the fact that we don't want their drugs. We don't want drugs coming into our country, and you're seeing that.
You had suggested that you might not proceed maybe with the swaps plan or with the changes to beef purchases, depending on the result of that election.
We'll see. We're going to take care of our ranchers one way. That we have two situations. The ranchers for 35 years have done very poorly. The cattle people. They've done very, very poorly, and now they're doing well, but the price is up. So what I can see happening is we're going to take some beef because I have to get the price down. I want to get, most prices are down. If you look at energy and all I have things down, but beef is high, and the cattle ranchers are doing good. They backed me from day one. What we're going to do is we're going to make sure that they don't get hurt, but we have to also make sure that I get the prices down. I want to get the prices down like I did with eggs, like I did with lots of others. We had a couple of them where when I first took over, eggs were double and quadruple what they were. That was Biden's fault. A lot of this is Biden's fault too. And we're going to get the price of beef down, and I'm going to make sure the cattle ranchers don't get hurt.
Mr. President, you talked about North Korea on your way here. Have you heard anything back from him?
I haven't mentioned it. I haven't said anything, but I'd love to meet with him if he'd like to meet. I got along great with Kim Jong-un. I liked him. He liked me. If he wants to meet, I'll be in South Korea.
To extend your trip in order to try to meet Say it. Would you extend your trip in Asia in order to meet with him?
Well, I hadn't thought of it, but I think the answer would be yeah, I would do that, sure.
Well, and if when you do,
it's our last stop, so it's pretty easy to do. Yeah, I would do that.
When you do meet with him, sir,
with Kim Jong-un?
Yes. What does the U.S. have to offer?
Well, I didn't say I was meeting with him, but if he'd like to meet him around, you know, I'll be in South Korea, so I could be right over there. Well,
what could the U.S. offer him at this point?
Well, we have sanctions. Well, that's pretty big to start off with. I would say that's about as big as you get.
Anything as like an inducement to do a deal?
I just had a good relationship with him. I would love to see him if he wants to, if he even gets this message. We haven't mentioned anything, but he knows I'm going over there. If he'd like to meet, I'd love to meet him.
Sir, are you concerned about flights being halted at LAX due to shortages for air traffic controllers? Is there a way we can pay them?
Yeah, there is, but the Democrats should just do a simple extension. That's the best way. The Democrats are holding it up. They want $1.5 trillion for people that came out of prisons, for illegal aliens that come into our country. We don't want to do that because that will really hurt the health care that we have in our country. And frankly, we'd like to see better health care, period. We're not looking to do that. The Democrats can solve that problem with air traffic control. All they have to do is say, the country's open. We only need 5 votes. The Republicans are with us. We only need 5 votes. So let's see what happens. I would imagine that gets taken care of. Not only the controllers, but other people too.
How is your relationship with Elon these days? And is there?
I think it's good. I mean, you saw that during Charlie's beautiful tribute. Elon came up. It's good with Elon. I like Elon. I've always liked Elon. Elon's good.
Have you talked to him since the memorial?
On and off a little bit. Yeah, very little. Nothing much. Look, he's a nice guy. And he's a very capable guy. I've always liked him. He had a bad spell. He had a bad period. He had a bad moment. It was a stupid moment in his life. Very stupid. I'm sure he'd tell you that. But I like Elon. And I suspect I'll always like him.
Sir, what are your thoughts on the continued protests outside immigration centers in Chicago?
Well, when people come into our country illegally, especially in terms of speed, the very bad ones, murderers, because we've had murderers came in through the Biden administration. We have very tight borders now, but we had open borders. Incredibly, we had open borders. What were they thinking? But we have murders. Over 11,000 murderers came in. Many of them murdered more than one person. We want those people out. We want people that were in prisons. We want them to go back to their prison, not our prison. We want them out, and we'll get them out. Get them all out.
Do you think deportation?
It was really a terrible mistake that was made. When you think of it, so much of our time is spent on that subject, and it's a big subject because it's probably 20 or 25 million people, the real number. And of the 25 million people, it's, you know, millions of people should not be here. Now, all of them shouldn't be here if they came in illegally, but we have to get the criminals out. Washington, D.C. is doing great. Memphis is starting to do great. We just started there 2 weeks ago. Any place we touch is going to do well. If I were a governor, I'd say, please get your people in, whether it's National Guard or the military. Get them in.
Is there a deadline?
And as you know, we've been winning those cases.
Is there a deadline for San Francisco to get their crime rates down?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to do it, but, you know, I have a lot of very important people that are really into San Francisco that are really trying to do it themselves. I said, we can do it better because we have a strong group, a tough group, a group that has powers that other people don't have. Locally, you don't have the powers that the federal government has. And we can do a better job of it faster. But I listened to a few of the people, you know, Jensen, who's fantastic, from NVIDIA, as you know, and Mark from, he owns Time Magazine, among a lot of other things, right? He's a good man. And they would love to give it a shot. And I say, go ahead, do it. And I would have done that with Chicago, but Chicago is very far along the way. We have to do something with that. If I have a lot of friends influential in Chicago. If they call me, maybe I do the same thing, but we have to save Chicago immediately. We can do that pretty easily, but we have to get in quickly.
Can I go back to Argentina quickly?
Yeah.
What do you think the state of the fiscal situation is there now? Do you think you'll have to do enough another
Well, we have the all-time
deal?
expert right here. I think right now we've made a lot of money based on that election because the bonds have gone up, their whole debt rating has gone up. You know, that election made a lot of money for the United States. Now, we're not in that for money per se, but if you look at the value of the bonds, the debt, Scott, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I think the great victory in this election, President Malay, I think he is going to expand his coalition, and you know they have some big refinancings next year. But the Argentinian people have spoken. President Trump, that they know that the U.S. is their ally thanks to President Trump. We're behind them, and you know, that they're going to be able to fix their fiscal and keep on the road. He's working against 100 years of bad policies, and he's going to break them thanks to the support for the United States.
And we're helping other South American countries also, as you know.
Will they need more support, or would you consider it if they need it?
They might. Yeah, we would consider it. I think they'll be in good shape.
Yeah, we think the market's going to do it from here. Now that he's gotten over this, as I always said, this was a bridge. We've bridged it. Thanks to President Trump's support, he did better than anyone ever expected. The Peronists said it wasn't a fair election because we were running against Donald Trump too. And now I think the market is going to take care of itself and it's going to have a lot of confidence in his policies and the way forward.
The polls were very wrong on that election. I mean, the polls really got it wrong. That was an election they said was going to be lost, and not only was it won, but it was won by a lot. And maybe we did help. I hope we helped.
Sir, for you or Secretary Rubio, over the weekend, Israel assassinated a military official of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad movement. Does that violate the ceasefire law between Israel and Hamas, or are they treated as a separate group?
You're talking about the strike against the Palestinian Jihad individual?
Yes.
Yeah, look, Israel didn't surrender its right to self-defense. Obviously, the ceasefire is based on obligations on both sides. By the way, we'd also like to see Hamas speed up the return of hostage bodies. We still have 13 hostages, 2 Americans included. But we don't view that as a violation of the ceasefire. They have a right. There's an imminent threat to Israel, and all the mediators agree with that.
How transparent is the Trump administration? You got Scott, you got Jameson, you got Marco. We're not saying you please don't ask this question. You can ask anything you want. There's never been anything like this. Do you agree with that?
Well, I just wanted to ask a clarifying question from my earlier thing. You said 5 Fed candidates. That's Waller, Hassett, Warsh, Ryder, and Bowman, right? Reader, and Bowman. Okay. All right, thank you. I just wanted to clarify. Whether a surprise fit, and you've added a surprise 6 occasionally with Secretary Bessent.
He likes what he's doing too. I don't think you couldn't pull him out of there no matter what. It's like Caroline. How's Caroline doing? Good? Would you say she's doing good or just okay? I think she's doing.
She's been very gracious to us.
She's doing very good. Without her, we wouldn't be here right now. She's doing great.
When do you think you'll make a decision on the Fed? Last Fed?
I'd say maybe by the end of the year.
Yeah, before Christmas, right around.
I think by the end of the year. Early next year, but by the end of the year. We want to get too late out as soon as possible.
Sir,
we want to be too early with too late.
Sir, Steve Bannon said in a recent interview that there could be plans for you to be able to run and potentially win a third term in 2028. Is that something you'd be willing to challenge the court to be?
Well, I haven't really thought about it. We have some very good people, as you know, but I have the best poll numbers I've ever had. I mean, I just solved 8 wars and a 9th is coming. I believe Russia, Ukraine will happen. But we just did, we just left, and when you look at the treaty we just did, that was a war, that was thousands of people were already shot at the border. And when you look at what we just did, it was pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. We got a lot of good credit. And I really have to thank Malaysia for that, because they really, the Prime Minister and everybody really helped get the 2 countries together. But it was quite a great peace treaty. But that was one of 8, and makes me feel good. I mean, it's millions of people that we saved. I saved the lives of millions of people. That's what's important. Yeah.
Who are the very good people?
They are good people. What?
You said that for 2028, they're very good people.
Who are they?
Well, we have great people. Well, I don't have to get into that, but we have one of them standing right here. We have JD, obviously. The vice president is great. I think Marco's great. I think, I'm not sure if anybody would run against us. I think if they ever formed a group, it would be unstoppable. I really do. I believe that. I would love to do it. I have my best numbers ever. It's very terrible. I have my best numbers. If you read it, am I not ruling it out? I mean, you'll have to tell me. All I can tell you is that we have a great group of people, which they don't. They have Jasmine Crockett, a low IQ person. They have AOC's low IQ. You give her an IQ test, have her pass like the exams that I decided to take when I was at Walter Reed. Those are very hard, they're really aptitude tests, I guess, in a certain way, but they're cognitive tests. Let AOC go against Trump. Let Jasmine go against Trump. I don't think Jasmine, the first couple of questions are easy. A tiger, an elephant, a giraffe, you know. When you get up to about 5 or 6, and then when you get up to 10 and 20 and 25, they couldn't come close to answering any of those questions.
The readout from Walter Reed mentioned advanced medical imaging. Did you get an MRI? Can you tell us what that was?
I did. I got an MRI. It was perfect. Yeah. I mean, I gave you the full results. We had an MRI, and in the machine, you know, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it was perfect. Yeah.
Did you say what in particular?
You could ask the doctors. In fact, we have doctors traveling with us, but I think they gave you a very conclusive. Nobody has ever given you reports like I gave you. And if I didn't think it was going to be good, either I would let you know negatively, I wouldn't run, I'd do something. But the doctor said some of the best reports for the age, some of the best reports they've ever seen.
One theory on how you might try to serve a third term is that you could run as the vice president.
Yeah, I'd be allowed to do that.
Is it the White House or the White House counsels or your legal position?
No, you'd be allowed to do that, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. I think it's too cute. Yeah, I would rule that out because it's too cute. I think the people wouldn't like that. It's too cute. It's not. It wouldn't be right.
Sure, a golf-related question. Do you mind? Personally, the most difficult shot for you in golf.
You mean right now?
Well, yeah. How will you play it?
The most difficult shot. It used to be chipping, but I've become a very good chipper. I hit them all pretty good. I'm a pretty good golfer. I won 38 club championships. That's pretty good. I mean, pretty much I hit. I'm very solid, very consistent, pretty long. I mean, I hit the ball pretty long. I play with Gary Player. You know, Gary's 90, and he shot 70 with me the last time we played, which is pretty amazing from 6,800.
Putting is pretty good.
Putting's pretty good, yeah. Putting's used to be. I'd say putting used to be the best, but I'd say putting is pretty good.
Yes. Sir, can I ask just one more trade question? There were some tweaks to the Vietnam deal where they're going to have some zero tariff items that can come into the United States.
Yeah.
Why was that change made?
I don't know. That's just there's a handful of things like coffee, etc. The type of stuff we don't make in the United States or grow, like climatologically we can't. So it makes sense if people are going to do a deal with us, we'll give them a good deal there. But overall, 20% on Vietnam.
And we want to get coffee down a little bit.
So just to clarify, technically that was stuff that was at 20 and now will be brought to zero. Is that?
Well, it's just brought to whatever congressional level of tariff there is, right? I mean, this is, we have a huge deficit with Vietnam, and so they've taken down all their tariffs to zero on everything.
All gone.
All the non-tariff barriers gone. They're going to accept all our autos, all our standards, all of that. We have 20%.
Which, by the way, people said impossible to get.
They did say impossible.
They're all gone.
Yep. And so we just have a few items like that we can't grow or extract from the ground in the United States. Certain spices, right, that we don't grow in America, that kind of thing.
How worried are you still about the risk of transshipment through Vietnam from China?
So part of the deal, they've agreed to a duty evasion agreement with us, and if we catch them doing it, we can charge an additional 40%, right?
On top of the 20?
That's right, yeah. And that's an executive order that's already in place. So,
You guys have a very interesting couple of days. We have Japan, and then we have South Korea, but we have China coming, and it's going to be very interesting. I have a lot of respect for President Xi, and we are going to, I think we're going to come away with a deal, but I really feel good. Our country is doing so well economically. It's doing so incredibly well. The Democrats should let it open. I guess they don't do that because it's doing so well. It's too bad, but on the macro scale, it's not having that kind of an effect. We just want people to get paid. We think it's very unfair. And how about the man that put up $130 million to make sure our military got paid? This,
you won't tell him?
I won't tell you. I won't tell you. But this is a person that called me that said, "Sir, I'd like to make a contribution of any difference needed for the United States military." I said, "I don't know. That could be a big number." And we worked it out. It was about $130 million. And he wrote a check for $130 million because he's an unbelievable patriot. And that's what it's all about. So we're going to have a good time over the next 2 days. Get a little rest.
What one, sir? What is that?
I haven't been watching it too much, the World Series. No, I'm disappointed they didn't put Pete Rose in. I said, put Pete Rose in before he dies. He had over 4,000 hits. They didn't do it. And with all the gambling you see now, I mean, give me a break. They didn't put Pete Rose in. I asked the commissioner, put Pete Rose in, commissioner, long before he died. Like a year before he died. They didn't get it done. Should have gotten it done. Pete Rose was a great baseball player.
One quick one. Just, you said yesterday that you might invite China to Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
When would that be?
Well, sometime after. I'm going to go. We pretty much agreed that I'll be going to China.
When is that?
In the earlier part of the year.
Okay.
And President Xi will be coming into maybe Washington or Palm Beach or someplace sometime after that.
Vietnam said that you accepted an invitation there as well. Do you plan on visiting Vietnam?
He invited me. If I can, I will. We have a good relationship with Vietnam. And they've made a lot of money with the United States over the years when presidents that really didn't know what they were doing. But now, as you know, Vietnam is not charging us tariffs. And that's a big step, and based on that, I would. That's a big move.
On Friday, Ambassador Greer launched a 301 on whether China reneged on its Phase 1 deal. Is that part of these talks? Would you pause that? How connected is that to the Thursday talks and the talks?
It may be a part of the talk, but it may be a part of just the negotiation.
That was a separate deal from before, and there's a lot of view in the United States that they didn't keep aspects of that deal. So we're just looking into it. As if that's continuing, but we're really focused on.
If all works out well, I'm sure they'll be able to talk us out of it. You agree?
We'll see.
I think so.
It's up to you, sir.
I have a feeling they'll talk us out of it.
You've long said that you have a great relationship with Xi Jinping. You really get along.
Yeah.
Could you just elaborate on that? What about your relationship is so great, and what about him?
I just like him. We were obviously that was hurt pretty badly by COVID when COVID came in through Wuhan. Everybody knows that. I always said it. I said it right from the beginning. So that had an impact, but an impact for a lot of reasons. Number one, we didn't get to speak as much because we were all busy getting out of that nightmare. But no, I think I have a very good relationship, as good as anybody, and I would say that likewise with him. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, so it's about 12:40, almost 12:40 Eastern time. That means it's about 1:40 Tuesday morning in Tokyo, Japan. We have confirmed that tonight at 8:15 Eastern time, we'll be going live. Robert McNeely will be in studio covering President Trump and the Japanese Prime Minister's bilateral meeting and press conference. So that'll be all happening tonight live right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. We have a few more video clips to go. In the meantime, let's talk a few things stateside. Just a quick shout out to Border Patrol, our military, and ICE. And I say that because I was watching a clip from Mayor Brandon Johnson in Chicago, and some of the reporters there are starting to really, ask real questions about situations that are happening in Chicago where people are still committing these crimes, and sometimes illegal criminal aliens are doing that. And recently, a reporter was bringing up a very serious assault that was happening and asking about his thoughts on ICE and mass deportations and all that. And the mayor decided, no, let's move on, and didn't really ask or answer the question. I saw a report the other day as well. You might have seen it if you follow on Truth Social. Posted a article or an actual video clip from someone that's from the south side of Chicago who you should just actually go watch it. I mean, this lady went off on the mayor, but with all, good content, respectfully, but also saying how he has been representing people in a way that is not right. it's simple as this. It's common sense. Thank God for border protection. Thank God for the patrols. Thank God for law enforcement. These mass deportations, just because the left-wing media and some of the people out there are really going wild because of all this, doesn't mean they're in the majority. It's a small group of people saying this stuff. They just don't want law and order. They want the country to be destroyed. They want it to fall by the wayside. They hate everything we stand for. We hope that they'll see the light someday. Also, before we get to some of our sponsors, before we get to some of our final clips of the president overseas, of just the Malaysia trip, and a little bit of Tokyo, of course, with him arriving in Tokyo, we're tracking the latest out of Nigeria. Colin Rugg is reporting the following, that Virginia Republican Representative Riley Moore is calling on the Secretary of State Marco Rubio to take immediate action to address the slaughter of Christians in Nigeria. Moore said on Fox, quote, "Christians are being persecuted and killed in Nigeria for preaching and professing their faith in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ." Colin Rugg reporting and saying Moore is calling on Rubio to redesignate Nigeria as a country of particular concern. Moore told Fox, quote, "I urge you to use all diplomatic tools available and halting arms sales and all associated technical support until the Nigerian government demonstrates it is sufficiently committed to ending this reign of persecution and slaughter," end quote. Again, that according to Congressman Moore of Virginia. More than 7,000 Christians have been killed in Nigeria alone this year. 125,000 Christians have been slaughtered in Nigeria since 2009, according to various reporting, including Newsweek. We have a call into Representative Moore's office for an interview, as these are the kinds of things that need to be talked about outside of all of the other things that need to be talked about that the mainstream news just doesn't touch. All right, let's go to a couple of our sponsors as we get ready to toss it back to Air Force One as the president arrived in Tokyo. But let's go to Perplexity first. Now, this is all about Comet Perplexity. It's an AI-driven thing here that is quite awesome. Let's talk about it as we are live at 12:44 Monday, October 27th. A quick question for you about it. How much time do you spend every day on a web browser? How much time do you spend clicking around online, searching, scrolling, typing endless tabs? It's a lot. Well, there's a new AI web browser from Perplexity called Comet. I've used this before, and it's completely changing the way you're able to interact with your browser. Comet feels more like having a personal assistant living in your web browser that can actually do things for you across the internet, actually do things, not just give you answers. So you can ask Comet to handle tasks for you. It literally clicks, types, searches, and scrolls just like you would. Comet can actually shop for you, make reservations, book travel, summarize articles or videos, send emails, schedule meetings, and a lot more to make your life easier. So all you have to do is download this app or go to that website right there. You'll see it on the bottom right of your screen. And also, if you download Comet, you get a month of Rumble Premium for free. So you can go now and take back your time online. It's pplx.ai/RSBN. It's a lot easier to use something like this to get a lot of work done, especially if you got a lot of other stuff to take care of. Great sponsor here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. Let's go to MyPillow.com as well. The great Mike Lindell, the great MyPillow, all together in one. If you can go there, you can buy a number of great products, more than 2,000 products on sale for you, mypillow.com/RSBN. So save with that code RSBN as you see the 6-piece towel sets and other great products throughout MyPillow. And I know we're a bit far from kind of Christmas time, but always good gifts there from mypillow.com. If you'd like to donate to Right Side, all you have to do is text RSBN to 801-801. Also, you can go to rsbnetwork.com/donate. If you'd like to use the snail mail version, which a number of people do, and they donate to the network, you can always mail us at a P.O. Box. It's 1550 Opelika Road, Suite 6, Box 344, Auburn, Alabama, 36830. Thank you so much for donating to Right Side as we continue to cover all sorts of news on the right side of history. All right, so it's 1246. Let's go now to Asia. once again, as President Trump landing in Tokyo. Beautiful Air Force One. Looking forward to the new paint wrap on Air Force One. I remember on Air Force One, President Trump was speaking about February 2026 might be the time that this will be ready to go. Who knows? But in the meantime, let's go back to Tokyo as the president arrived there in Japan. That's a great shot right there of Air Force One, of course. And then you see Marine One. Of course, there's always two of them, especially when it's, different rallies or overseas coverage. And then you saw another chopper there, a Black Hawk, on the way, escorting the president on the way to another location in Tokyo, which we're going to show you that part in just a second, meeting the Emperor of Japan. So before we get to that, let's go to the newest video from the White House. It's about 50 seconds long. This is kind of a summing up of the past 24 to 48 hours. Let's take a look. And this overseas coverage brought to you by a number of great sponsors, including All Family Pharmacy, as October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And this is a time when many families are searching for clarity, for hope, and for options worth learning about. So more people today are exploring repurposed medications like mebendazole for its potential cancer support and ongoing research. All Family Pharmacy believes you deserve access and the freedom to explore what may feel right for you and your loved ones. They make the process simple. A licensed doctor reviews every order to ensure it's appropriate and your medication is shipped directly to your door. So for this final week of October, they're offering 40% off of mebendazole, as you see there on your screen, and the offer will end on October 31st. Now, the discount is automatically applied at checkout, so there's no code needed for this one. All you have to do is go to allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. Again, that's allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. And you could order before October 31st. And as always, this is not medical advice. Please consult with a licensed physician to determine what's best for your care. allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. Great sponsor here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. Same thing with Monetary Gold. For years, the signs have been clear, but most Americans ignored them. Now the storm beneath the dollar is impossible to miss. Gold has broken through $4,000 an ounce. Silver passed $50 an ounce, and it's not luck, it's logic. When governments spend beyond their means, when every crisis is met with another trillion printed out of thin air, the value of your money must fall. History proves it, and every time a currency weakens, gold and silver rise to reveal the truth. And these metals don't depend on promises. They don't vanish when confidence collapses, they endure. That's why the world's strongest institutions are moving into physical gold quietly but decisively. Now is your moment to do the same. You see the number there on your screen, 888-617-7994. You can also go to rsbnforthegold.com. You'll get that free info kit on gold and silver. And you can take what you've built and make it real before the next headline reminds you that paper wealth is just that, paper. All right, it's 1 o'clock Eastern time. Let's go now to Tokyo. The president met with the Japanese Emperor Naruhito at the Imperial Palace in Tokyo. Let's take a look. All right, it is now 2:01 a.m. Tuesday morning in Tokyo. Meantime, our live coverage from Tokyo starts back up tonight at 8:15 Eastern Time when the president meets with the Prime Minister of Japan. Robert McNeely will be in studio for that coverage. All right, it's 1:02 Eastern. Thanks again for joining us. For all of us at Right Side Broadcasting Network, I'm Matthew Alvarez. We'll see you tonight.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interview the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat live show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. You can scan that QR code now, RSBN10. That is the code, easy to remember, for 10% off. This is ivermectin, hydrochloroquine, antibiotics that will save you and yours from bacterial and viral infections, NAD+, and much, much more. 200 essential medications and emergency medical kits, the meds you trust delivered to your door.